and we are anxiously awaiting the start of the chair trench. Right now, we can still see the chair is not rolled out yet. It's still... Wait a minute. Hang on, something's happening with the chair. Someone's moving the chair. We're finally seeing roll. We're seeing the roll out of the chair. There we go, folks. We have it. We finally have the chair. We are ready for the chair trench. Roll the intro.
And here we go.
There's the W. Here's ignition.
Doubling up.
Did it just do a Kerbal?
Back to the moon and beyond.
Put that in the big bag, Jingle.
Back at home, we all have a lot of work to do, but from here, it sure looks like a perfect flow.
Propulsion continues to be normal.
We did have an observation.
Equalize.
343 unfolds to go.
It's orange.
Water towers can fly!
Bingo! Right in the center. Where's Jacqueline? There it is!
That was surreal.
That's not what we want to see.
No! Oh my God.
Yikes. You bet. Sure. We don't need any more of these.
Welcome everybody to the Flame Trench. This is our weekly news show where we take a lighter look at some of the things going on in the world of spaceflight that we found interesting this week and go over it with you as well. I'm Sawyer Rosenstein. I will be your host, and I saw some of you in chat are a little confused about the backstory behind the chair. Don't worry, we will explain it. If you were with us for the insane amount of hours last night that we were waiting for Artemis to roll, you already know about the chair roll. So, didn't have any plywood, so couldn't use that part of it. But anyway, of course, I am not the only one here, and I'm not the only one that was stuck up a million hours last night waiting for this thing to roll. Also with me on that stream, and also with us on the Flame Trench today, is EJ. How's it going, EJ?
Hey, it's going real good. How are you?
Oh my gosh, he found plywood. Don't let it fly away.
No. I was just securing it for rolling reasons.
Okay, folks, we had the cold open pre-prepared with the chair. I was not prepared for that. That was no notes. Also joining us is the purveyor of the chair for that cold open. It was Ryan Weber on that one. Ryan, wait a minute. You're like the guy in the chair that night who ignored that there was a giant rocket rolling out next to them.
Wait, did a rocket roll out? I'm here reading about the evolution of U.S. aircraft carrier design here. So, yeah. What rocket? What? Yeah, and then the USS Enterprise. So, yeah, whatever.
There you go. Nice. So, good to have you with us. So we have plywood and we have chair. We're set. And then the one pushing the buttons, pulling the levers, rolling the chair, and flying the plywood today is Jake Keegan. So a reminder, if you have any questions, you could tag us at NASASpaceflight or at NSF. We just ask that you kind of keep it to the topic that we are discussing at that moment. Of course, as is always the case, we do discuss Starship. We will discuss Starship, and we will discuss that towards the end. So save your Starship questions as we get closer to that. In the meantime, though, let's talk about all of this hullabaloo that we're kind of parodying here. And behind the parody was a real event that happened, and that was finally Artemis 2 rolling out to the Launchpad. Take 2. EJ?
Okay, so last night we did a rollout stream when SLS rolled out of the VAB to Pad 39B for hopefully another, well, actually, no, I was going to say another wet dress rehearsal, but that's not happening. They're going to put that thing right out on the pad and launch as soon as, they have net April 1st. The launch window, the days that they can launch in April are the 1st through the 6th and the 30th. So hopefully we see some action here, but we did see we did see chairs moving around and plywood getting blown away. It was a little bit delayed last night, so we ended up staying up pretty late. Me, Sawyer, Alice was there. Ryan Katoon of NASA Spaceflight Now was there. It was great. It was a good time. It was good. Yeah. So they're gonna roll out, and they're not doing a wet dress rehearsal per Lori Glaze. They're not gonna do it. They're just gonna go for a launch attempt on the 1st. So yeah, we'll see what happens, Sawyer. I don't know. That's all right. I mean, I don't personally think that's that bad of an idea. You know, like
Really?
you know. If you wanted to do a wet dress rehearsal and call it a launch attempt and have the astronauts suit up during your wet dress rehearsal, you know, everything goes good. You get the rocket into a launch state. You already have your astronauts suited up. Worst case scenario, it's more practice suiting up for the astronauts. Best case scenario, you send people to the moon for the first time in 53 years. That's kind of good.
I mean, yeah, but at the same time, in my opinion, we've seen if history is to be noted, and again, those who don't study history are doomed to repeat it. Artemis 1 had the same issue where after rollout, there was a larger leak for most of those rollouts, except the last one. Artemis 2, its first rollout, had the same thing. You had the crazy leak rates during the first attempt at the wet dress and the terminal count. And then they went out, fixed it, and the second time everything was great. Is that not something that you think that you would want to test and look at and just make sure, hey, maybe this thing got jostled again, maybe there's a leak, even if you just do a partial tanking test just to confirm that? It doesn't take that long to do the partial tank, so why not just do that then and be 100% sure that when you get to launch day, that part of the leak is, in theory, sealed?
Didn't you pun enough last night? Oh my goodness.
Sorry. Hey, I'm in the shot. Anyway.
Wait, did you just apologize for punning?
Never. Absolutely never.
So, dude, I think they're starting to worry about vehicle health, let's say. You know, there are tanking limits to an SLS core stage. I don't think they're near them, but that I'm pretty sure that's what's going on. That's the only reason why you do that. So, yeah. I mean, so the other thing is that I'm pretty sure this launch attempt, you know, I mean, they did this during Artemis 1, you know, they did a launch attempt, right? And, you know, it didn't go. And then they were like, oh yeah, you know, it's just another wet dress rehearsal. I'm pretty sure they're doing that again. Like, if this doesn't go, like I said, best case scenario, you learn, you got more data on the rocket and your astronauts get practice suiting up again. Closeout crew gets practice again, you know?
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
best case scenario, you're going to the moon. Ryan, what's up?
I was going to say, the astronauts have zero practice going up to a fully fueled rocket on the pad, in their suits, getting strapped in and everything. So, like, if for some reason it were to become a wet dress rehearsal, well, it also becomes a dress rehearsal and how to handle crew on a fueled SLS, which, I mean, you're going to need the data on, you're going to want experience with. So, you know, I mean, I understand where they're coming from when they don't want to do one. You also remember on Artemis 1, they rolled back in because of hurricane, then they rolled back out. They didn't change any seals. They didn't do any tanking tests. They went for launch and they launched. Maybe they're thinking this is the same thing. And I got to say, for Artemis going forward, when they roll out the initial time, just don't even wait. Just replace the seals right away at this point, right? Two Artemis 1 and 2 in a row, your initial rollout has caused the seals to have issues. Might as well just replace them right away on Artemis 3. As soon as you roll it out, just replace the seals and then do a tanking test. And you won't have any issues, right? Am I right? Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, they did inspect the seals, Ryan. They inspected them and they said they were good. Like, whether rollout is the, you know, problem with the seals, they inspected them. They even replaced the liquid oxygen seals. So, I mean, I don't know. Maybe they know what a good seal is like, but yeah, I don't know. I want to take their word for it, but like I said, the data is not cooperative. But we'll see, I guess, right? Like, we'll see.
Yeah, there was that dreaded TSMU, the tail service mast umbilical connection. But I mean, you saw the wind last night. I was there. It was windy. That thing rocks on its own. So of course it's going to move as it moves. We saw even on the rollback, you could see the sway at the top of the launch abort system. That's got to loosen something. I don't know. I just feel like that would be crazy to not do that. But anyway, the other thing I was wondering, and it's just popped into my head, and I don't know why we haven't asked this question before. During the shuttle program, they would do static fires where they would fire up the RS-25s, run them through their paces, obviously not ignite the SRBs, and you get to see the extra twang and everything with the shuttle, which was great. Why do they never do that with the Artemis program, especially given that there was no green run for Artemis 2?
That's a good question. That is a question that someone should save for the next press conference, honestly. It is a good question to ask them why they won't do one. I mean, it seems logical to do it because, you just installed these engines on a stage. You would think you would want to check the plumbing and everything, but then again, you look at other rockets, like Atlas V doesn't do it for every single flight. They only did it for Vulcan on the first one because that's the first time they ever had BE-4s on that stage, and that stage had ever been fired, so that's why they did that. I don't know. Are we too used to SpaceX static firing every single booster before they go to flight? Is that what we're too used to at this point? That could be it, because literally every Falcon 9, every Starship, every second stage, and every super heavy booster gets static fired before flight.
Didn't New Glenn do it for both of its first flights, though?
And
or just
New Glenn still does it for all of its stages as well. Like, Blue Origin and SpaceX are the only entities that do that for every single one of their rockets. ULA doesn't do it at all, and NASA's not doing it for SLS. So, what's the right way to do it? I don't know. I mean,
I'd like to point out too, Ryan, that the Apollo program did that with every stage too.
Yeah. And the other thing I'll say with is the Apollo program, not that I know or remember, well, not remember, but at least know, that they didn't really have a lot of issues tanking and engine-wise. I mean, of course, you had sometimes the J2s would go offline, in ascent. That it only happened, like twice, I think it was. They never really had any issues with the S1C. SpaceX rarely has issues in ascent. I mean, you could talk about the early parts of the Starship program, but that's a whole different animal because it's completely R&D. But like Falcon 9 almost has no issues. New Glenn has not had, it's only 2 flights, but it hasn't had any issues either. Is that the way to go, to static fire before? I would like to see an SLS static fire. I'm going to be entirely honest. Tank the thing partially. Just the SRBs is enough to weigh it down. Tank it to where you need to tank it, and do like a 20-second static fire of the RS-25s or something.
See, Ryan, where I'm at, dude, is you can't do this because they retooled the B2 test stand for the EUS now. So, oops.
Yeah,
I think green running every core stage is probably a better solution here. Like, just ship. What are you gonna do? Like, what do we have to worry about here? The engine's not being reusable? Like,
yeah. Thanks.
Maybe we should go green run these things to make sure this stuff doesn't happen. But then again, the problems that the problems with this thing aren't with the core stage, with the exception of the whole engine 3 DFI sensor fiasco. But yeah, I don't know. That would probably get you some good data. Do the umbilicals at the B2 test stand that hooked up to the core stage, are those different? Like, it's different than the ones on the pad? Or is it, here, I'm thinking out loud. Or is it, I don't know, last time you used Mobile Launcher 1 was like 3 years ago. Maybe if you used it more, those seals wouldn't, not work. I don't know.
Maybe.
Yeah.
It's possible.
There's some green run action.
I would like to see a green run for each one. You might not need a full 8-minute firing.
Yeah.
But like even a minute. Now, granted, they've only had one flight. They didn't really have any issues on ascent. I think we're just kind of posing this as it'd be cool to see them get more data on it, because it's always nice to see a rocket stage fire its engines before it's supposed to fly. You see that it works, but it puts a lot more confidence in the system. It does.
Right, exactly. And again, like you were talking about New Glenn, the first 2 New Glenn flights did do the static fire testing. A lot of the rockets on their first couple of flights will do a static fire test. Remember, this is only the second ever flight of SLS, even though it feels like there should be more given how long this program's been going, but that's a whole other can of worms.
Yeah.
This is only the second flight ever. So you feel like these would still be those early flights where you want to do it, and especially given the fact this is the first one with actual people, not moonikins on it. So, I don't know.
Yeah, now we even bring it up, I'm actually kind of astonished. And it kind of goes along with this part of the program is now dead, which we of course we can get into a lot of the other stuff. More and more stuff keeps coming out about the Artemis restructuring, but like the EUS was, I mean, they were going to static fire it, but the EUS was set to fly for the first time on a crewed mission, which still boggles my mind to this day. When they go to use Centaur, when they go to use the new stage, it'll have flight heritage. It'll have flown on another rocket. So I wouldn't even be that concerned about it. It's the fact that EUS was going to be the first time it had ever flown at all, which was kind of like, really, NASA? Really? That's your plan? That always seemed way too risky to me, at least.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thought that someone brought up, and EJ, I want to run this by you. Spikopath saying you have to worry about using up the pressurization cycle life of the core stage tanks. And I know that's something that I believe was asked in one of the press conferences about having to, every time you cycle pressure, depressure, you're wearing down the tanks and the lifespan on it. But I don't know, EJ, your thoughts on that being a reason they might not do a test like that?
That's what I mean when I say vehicle health, Sawyer. That's what I mean when I said that. They're worried about tanking cycles, which fair, given history. If you know history of tanking 8.4 meter core things with liquid hydrogen and liquid oxygen a bunch of times. 23 years ago. Yeah, that's fair. Dude, here's the thing. Here's the kind of trade-off that they're dealing with, though. Like, at what point do you balance out the vehicle health, like wanting to make sure that the vehicle stays in good health with, making sure the mission works? Like, it's very clear that we still have a lot to learn about SLS as we go. I mean, the people that are in these press conferences, John Honeycutt, Lori Glaze, Charlie Blackwell Thompson, they always say we're learning new things from the vehicle. So it's very clear that this is it's still a new vehicle. It's still going to have teething problems. Like, at what point do you balance that with the fact that now you have to run operational missions and you don't have a choice because you're not hardware rich, meaning they don't have a lot more SLS cores, right? Like, it's a really, like, where's that line? I don't know. I mean, it's hard to say. Like, I mean, don't have the data in front of us, right? But you're gonna invoke vehicle health when the thing can't launch off the pad? Like, it's weird. Okay, if you like, once again, the second that you let that start kind of quote unquote influencing your judgment, that, like, how do we know the decision isn't like rushed? How do we know this is not like a kind of a roundabout way of having go fever? Like, that's the kind of stuff I'm thinking about. Like, if they say the vehicle's good and they go for tanking, like, and they get it done and it shoots off on the first, I'll sit here and eat humble pie again. It wouldn't be the first time. But also at the same time, like, if you're just looking at this from a pure empirical standpoint, the track record of SLS, like everything going smoothly during a launch campaign, is not the odds are not in your favor. They're not in your favor here.
I mean, the best example of that entire thing is you go through a full wet dress rehearsal. It seems perfect, no issues. The next day, they do a pressure test on a helium tank. Oh, no. Gotta roll it back. What? Like, It's just
And not only did they have to roll it back, but they redesigned the dang seal.
yeah.
They redesigned the dang seal and put a new design seal in there. Like, all right, you know that like people are flying on this, right? Like do we? I mean, I'm not saying that NASA doesn't understand that. It's just, yeah, I'm wondering like how much of this is like, and you know, you could say this about Orion's heat shield too. Like, how much of this is because you don't have another SLS? So you have to balance vehicle health with odds of success for your mission, or odds of even getting the vehicle off the pad. I don't know, just something to think about, right? Like,
Yeah, it's not
definitely.
like it's
Go
not
ahead.
like, oh, we get an issue with this SLS and everything. We'll have the next rocket stacked and ready to go out for cryo in 2 months and testing. It's not like
Right.
it's B18 to B19. It's not, yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
or you know, you blow up ship 36 and you fly again within 2.5 months, basically. Or 2 months.
Yeah, there.
Like it's not like that. It's not like you've got other things waiting in the wings. You don't have another core stage ready to go. Like, you just don't. So yeah, they have to balance it. And it is what it is. And that's part of the reason why they restructured the program, is so that they had options. Because if Boeing can make the core stages quick enough, and they do want to do those 2 landings in 2028, they might have 2 core stages to pick from. You know,
Be a nice change of pace.
what would be that would be like a revolutionary thing for Artemis. But I mean, like that, like how many external tanks would they have ready at a time in the shuttle days, or for that matter, how many Saturn V sections would they have ready, like S1Cs, S4Bs? Because I do remember at one point in time, it was right around the Apollo 9, 10, 11 era. They had all 3 mobile launchers working and 3 high bays working to stack Saturn Vs.
Yeah,
It was at one point. It only happened once, but that's it.
Dude, that just, you know, like, we're talking about rollout. That just, man, like, where's the next SLS, right, Ryan? Like
it's
why isn't High Bay 1 there? Like,
it really, if that's the other thing with this program. If you really wanted to push forward with Artemis, and granted, it's not the funding or the engineering, or you can blame a ton of different things, but I honestly think for this program, what should have been is they design a pad that can take it, which the current flame deflector system under 39B probably couldn't take 2 launches close together. I doubt it could. It's not really. It's basically kind of like a shuttle-like diverter. It's a bunch of steel panels fitted closely together with just a line of rainbirds up on top of the diverter that spray down onto it. That's really all it is.
Mhm.
I think that if they went through and made the kind of water-cooled flame diverter that SpaceX made, which NASA did research about making it, but they decided not to do it. And
wait, say that one more time. What happened?
NASA looked into making one of the water-cooled flame diverters, as far as I remember, and decided not to do it. They went with the old style, just rainbirds falling on a diverter itself.
They went with the old style. Yeah. Wouldn't be the first time, dude. Yes.
The cheaper one, by the way, is like $20 million.
Oh yeah, it's the cheaper one.
Yeah.
Yeah. By the way, you're saying it's a decision they made early in the program. They could have also, just not canceled Constellation. That would have been a good decision earlier in the program, but one can hope. Here's a question from OrcCloud, who's saying, were the RS-25s on this SLS ever tested at all on their own? I mean, 3 of them flew previously.
Yeah.
On shuttle flights.
Yeah, they're I'd say they've been tested, yes.
Yeah, the only one, I think they had to replace one of them, which was replaced with a never flown one, if I recall correctly. I don't know if they did any testing on that particular one, though.
So the one that they replaced is an RS-25 that's kit bashed from other RS-25s that have flown. but that so like chassis, so to speak, quote unquote, like it's the main, the power heads in the combustion chamber, the throat, and the nozzle. Those ones have not flown, but most, like everything else, is they kit bashed from other motors and made a shuttle motor. So it's kind of like halfway flown, I guess. We're kind of, yeah. So I'd say out of like 4 engines, let's say like 80% of it has some flight heritage or some testing done behind it. Let's say like 80%. But yeah, it's kit bashed out of other parts. But that serial number engine, that combustion chamber, actually is an extra Block 2 SSME. I learned this from Phil last night. I'm not even kidding. Phil Sloss was here with us during the rollout stream, and I learned it from him. It's kit bashed, but it's never the main power heads and stuff have never flown, but everything else has, which is, yeah, that's kind of neat. Thanks, weird. Phil. Yeah. Great wealth of knowledge, man.
Yeah, Philip Sloss is a national treasure that we must preserve at all costs with his knowledge. Oh, boy. But yeah, that was wild. The other thing I think we have to bring up here, you mentioned Charlie Blackwell Thompson, and last night someone made the amazing pun of calling her Charlie Blackwell Thompson. You mentioned Honeycutt, who I guess is the chair of the program. For those who don't get the opening gig that we did with the chair, I think people need to know the context of it. So last night, NASA had this camera inside the VAB that they were streaming publicly, so we used it on our broadcast. In that, there was an office chair. And EJ, you mentioned that office chair had been there for quite a while, possibly even going back to Artemis 1 days. There was a chair on that level just sitting right in front of the elevator bank.
Yep, there it is. I don't know. I've watched a lot of rollouts. I've watched a lot of launches. I'd have to go look at the VODs. I haven't had time to even go back and look at the Artemis 1 rollout. We've been busy because we were watching this thing roll out. But I swear that chair was there during Artemis 1 in that exact same position until somebody moved it.
As you
and
see.
They did that on purpose. They absolutely did that on purpose. It's ridiculous.
And they gave the wave too.
It's crazy.
They knew.
Oh, they knew. They knew.
That's amazing. So yes, for those who are wondering what we were talking about last with the chair cold open, this is it. We were enthralled by this.
I just looking at that of course that's inside the VAB. I would with the doors open, and there's some of those truss segments that you can kind of see through the doors and everything. I'd love to be on one of those like work platforms on a chair, sit it with my legs up and a coffee, watching the Artemis rocket just roll out, just kind of sitting there.
That's what I'd be doing.
That'd be a nice way to spend your night. Just sit right next to it.
And a reminder, by the way, based off of where that is compared to SLS, near the top of the booster cones there, that is probably about 25 stories up in the air. That one chair. So looking down would be quite amazing. Kicking your feet up and looking up would be amazing.
Across the video, you can actually see at the end of it how the rocket is lifted up, because they had lifted up the whole the ML with the crawler. It's lowered down right now. At the end of the whole thing, you can see it's lifted up. You'll see the A/B test from the end of the video to the beginning of the video. It like drops. Just notice that.
Oh yeah, yep, I saw it. Yep.
Oh yeah,
it moved down.
Which, by the way, one of the super chats from Telstar86 was, in honor of the chair, I dubbed this show the Flame Bench. We have to ply more puns out of Sawyer.
Don't make me get the plywood out.
I'll take a bench in a flame trench. It'd be fun. but while it's not firing, obviously. Just kind of look up. Who wouldn't want to do that?
But here's the other thing then. I think we still have the X-post of the plywood too, because that's the other thing. There was a whole poll going on of which was the key, which was the star of the stream at that point. Was it the chair or was it the plywood? The plywood also decided to make an appearance, which yes, it is 2026, and yes, we rely on plywood to be able to move a moon rocket from the VAB out to the launch pad. There are parts that are not river rock, that are either, the concrete or the base of the VAB, that are roads that it has to go over. So rather than destroying the road underneath it because of the loads on it, they put the plywood down, and the plywood cracks so that the road doesn't underneath it. And yeah, one of the pieces of plywood kind of went there, flying away.
You would think, after all this time, after 135, so many shuttle missions, and even Apollo, they would have come up with some kind of system for that crawler to go over that road over the last 60 years or more.
Yeah.
You'd think they would come up with some kind of this material that you could bolt down like to embeds on the side of the road, and that would just soften the blow to the road. I don't know, something. Anything?
I mean, Ryan, at this point, I'm just like, look, the Tennessee River Rock is, frangible. Just pave the road again. Like, oh no, we cracked it. Like, this is where we draw the line. We have an entire crawlerway that's 4 miles long, full of crushable rocks that take the impact, right? But the road, we have to preserve this. It's like,
have you seen?
You can't repave a road. Wait a minute.
Have you seen how much concrete SpaceX goes through at Starbase? Like,
yeah, like that's kind of where I'm at. Like, dude, it's
yeah, but
sorry. It's like like I understand you don't want to mess up the road, and you getting a paving crew out there is pain in the butt. I mean, what are you launching all the time? Like, what are we launching all the time, dude? They could pave it every launch, and you'd have a really long time between launches to pave the stupid road. Just drive over it.
Or make it like really reinforced concrete.
Yeah, you could do. Yeah, I mean, do that too.
Honestly, it'd probably be able to take it. I don't see why it wouldn't be able to. It might crack a little bit, but it'd still last.
But even the floor of the VAB, they have to cover it with, which is still a pretty reinforced concrete there. But I want to point out, I was so happy when I went out to the press site yesterday, because going up one of the roads that goes up this little mound area towards the main press building, there have been potholes there for years. At least 3 or 4 years, these same potholes have been there. They just filled them in. Just now. I was so happy. The road that goes up the grass right by the countdown clock, there's a little gravel road there, that had been getting worn away for probably 2 or 3 years. They finally just replenished the sand and rocks in it. This is not because it's a county road that they can just do. This is not SpaceX property that they can do whatever they want on. This is government roads in a government facility. And if anyone's done anything related to the U.S. federal government, things do not go quickly. So even getting in paperwork to repave a road, given the fact it's also on a National Wildlife Reserve and it's federal land, it's going to take time. So I think they probably want to avoid that at all costs. Plus, how much do you want to bet it's going to cost them to repave it? Because they're going to need to pay for the request, the call to action for whatever company's going to do it, getting the ideas for it, having to pay the people who are then going to take 6 lunch breaks. I mean, come on.
I mean, I will say this, and it's also dealing with the government as well. SpaceX recently just went and concreted Massey's Way. They had to go through Fish and Wildlife and other things in order to get the approval to even do that. Technically, so they had to go through agencies in order to even get the approval to do that kind of stuff. Like to widen Highway 4, and this, of course, we're getting towards Starship, but to widen Highway 4, they had to purchase a land bank of land to swap so they could widen the highway into the easement and wetlands area. So they had to go through all of that, even through the Army Corps of Engineers to do it. So yeah, dealing with the U.S. federal government is always great.
I'm going to call guys like, Sawyer and Ryan, it's not necessarily that you guys are wrong, but man, what kind of cope is this? Like, you can't repave a road? It's that same kind of stuff that's like, in 2017, like when NASA was soliciting an upper stage for SLS, they chose the EUS, right? but they could have chosen like a New Glenn second stage. You know, one of the reasons why they didn't choose New Glenn second stage because they weren't sure it was going to be ready on time, which is all right. All right. And the second one was that, we can't put a New Glenn stage on top of SLS because then the rocket would be too tall. It would be too tall for the VAB. A building that is modular steel, that is designed to be expandable upwards because it is a modular truss structure. The writing's on the wall there. What you can't? Oh, we can't raise the roof. That's where we draw the line. So we're going to choose an anemic upper stage that is not good at doing anything. Yeah, how did that work out? Yeah, that worked out real good. Well, we can't repave this road, so let's put plywood down on it and let's have that be our constraint. Pieces of plywood getting blown away to not being able to roll out our multi-billion-dollar moon rocket. Like, that's what I mean, dude. It's just indicative. Like, we're on a time crunch here, right? We got to get like we have a goal to get back to the moon in 2028, right? If we're sitting here messing around like, oh, we can't repave the road because we have to go through this. Like, I'm not saying that, we should throw environmental protection to the wind or anything, but also it's a road. It's a road. You already screwed up the environment, right? You already screwed up the environment. Like it's a road. Like, what is it? What is a duck gonna mate on it or something? Like, this is ridiculous. It's a road in front of the VAB. Just repave it.
You bring up raising the roof.
Yeah.
You also say SpaceX isn't doing that to Gigabay 1 to make booster taller. They're building a whole new building, which is Gigabay, which I honestly it's the best thing to do because Megabay's kind of really, really bad for building and servicing vehicles. It's a really, really bad design. But I think because I know some people would probably bring that up. Like, it'd be kind of hard to do that because it isn't just truss steel that's in that roof. That penthouse area above both Gigabays is poured with concrete, so you have to break up the concrete and then disassemble the entire roof and then lift it up. So it's not that simple in that case. But I don't know if there's any concrete near the top of the VAB though.
Yeah.
But,
that's what I mean, dude. I don't know if it's that simple. You know that the roof of the VAB is covering up a multi-billion-dollar rocket that's designed to get to other celestial bodies, right? We're drawing the line at the freaking steel roof? We're drawing a line at the roof? Like, we have this insane piece of technology. No. We could build this, but to the roof, no, let me tell you, that's a real humdinger. It's like, dude, come on, man. What kind of copium is this? Just pave the road. Just repave the road. Anyway, back to you.
If only it were that easy. But yeah, by the way,
that easy,
Florida,
man.
you say that, but you try doing the paperwork. Anyway, Florida Gigabay, by the way, making amazing progress. Saw it on the way there. Let me thank some people, though, as we've had some amazing support still coming in and some good puns in here. Brandon, JSS Coolio, upgrading to Capcom member, which, again, Capcom and above gets access to the NSF Discord. So thank you so much for that, and we'll see you in there. Dino, thank you for gifting 5 Red Team memberships. Great time to be a member now with the pins thing, which if you're a member, we'll go check that out. And with Artemis coming up, all the members' multi-views and stuff. Shazbird, everyone running on Red Bull now after that late night stream. Caffeine seltzer for me.
Coffee.
I had my coffee. Yeah, I already had coffee. Yeah.
Oliver Remond, I can't do it alone. Everybody put your hands up and let's bless the trench together in honor of the Space Pope wherever he is. Thank you for blessing the trench, and bless Space Pope wherever they are as well. Tron Weasley coming in saying, I'm doing my part. We appreciate it. Crafty Geek with a $20 tip at tips.nasaspaceflight.com. Wondering when was the fastest cadence/turnaround of a NASA launch? I'd presume under Shuttle, but do we know when the shortest lull happened? I think that was probably between the flight in December and January, or was it 2 of them in January and Shuttle? In 86.
Are we talking crude only, or are we going to include inert?
No, I think they mean crew.
Like Gemini and Rendezvous vehicle. Now I'm blanking on the name.
Well, yeah, because if it's Gemini Rendezvous vehicle, that's 46 minutes.
Yeah.
Or 50 something
Gemini
minutes.
6 and 6A. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Was it 61A and 51L, or
No.
it was the one right before it?
Yeah. So okay. Yeah. You flipped back to Shuttle. Yes, that's the closest one that I can think of. Guys, STS-51L, the Challenger disaster, is January 28th, 1986, but STS-61A launched 2 weeks before that. Yeah. The reason why is because in 1986, Challenger didn't happen. They were planning to launch 24 times with the shuttle in 1 year, and then that would have ramped up. So that's every 2 weeks for the most part, and they would have ramped up to a full 52 by 1987. That was the whole idea. So you could argue that they did that a little too quickly, but hey, whatever. Those 2 weeks between shuttle launches there. I mean, asterisks on shuttle launches, but yeah, that's the shortest time that I can remember.
Yeah, it was. Bideford with a $30 super chat. Ooh, fun number. Thank you, NSF, for covering the crawl and the chair. Can't thank you all enough. Keep the puns flying, Sawyer. How much sleep did each of you end up getting last night? Basically none.
Sorry, I don't know about you. I mean, you had to leave. You had to leave the press site, right? And then you had to go all the way home.
A 2+ hour drive home, and then and also picking up cameras after I got off the air. So anyway, it was a long night.
And for me, leaving the office, dude, you don't, when you do streams, when you're commentating on streams, you don't you think oh, you're already home, you can just go to bed. You gotta kind of wind down. That's think if you worked like a 9-to-5 job and you came home at 5 and it's not time to sleep. It's it's really not how that works. So yeah, dude, I don't know about you. I went to bed 4 or 5 o'clock, something like that.
I got to sleep at 6:30, I think.
Yeah, there you go.
7.
I work 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. Come home, have a quick breakfast, and immediately go to bed by I'm in bed, fall asleep by 7:45, and then I sleep through most of the day, wake up, do a few things, go right back to work at 7 p.m. So
yeah, it was wild, but. Yeah, again, I had to stay after we went off the air. I had some cool cameras getting some extra awesome shots of rollout. And one of those, in fact, is new in the shop at shop.nasaspaceflight.com. And we have a whole bunch of Artemis prints in there. And I'm sure there are going to be more on the way from rollout as we all continue to wake up throughout the rest of the day. But we have all of our Artemis merch over in the shop. We've got the metal prints from the first rollout, from the second rollout. We've got all of the awesome stuff. A couple of us took some boat trips out there, got our own shots, getting some other opportunities to go see the rocket beforehand. It's so cool, and I think you'll really like some of the prints that are in there, because again, you can get them as metal prints. You can also just get them as posters too to hang up on your wall, especially with all of the Artemis hype and everything. You can also get an L2 membership, as you see it there. But check that out. And again, we're getting that much closer to finally unveiling the third design on the Artemis 2 landing page. So keep an eye out for that, especially as we get much closer to launch. Hint, I was wearing that merch last night out at the rollout. Of course, I don't have any pictures I can't really show you and tell you, but it was being worn. So shop.nasaspaceflight.com for that. And I can guarantee you that merch is going to be 100 awesome on your wall. There we go. See, there's the third design that hasn't quite been released yet, but as we get closer to launch, there it is. Speaking of 100, Booster 1100, which has the 100 emoji on it, is now under 3 minutes away from a scheduled launch out at Vandenberg Space Force Base in the West Coast. I mean, out in California. So I think we'll be able to take a look at that, and then we'll keep going with our discussions. There it is.
That can't be California. It cannot be Vandenberg. It's impossible.
I know, you can see the rocket.
So
it's perfectly blue skies.
I do believe, it's actually kind of crazy. It might be an imposter, but sorry, I do believe they have a nickname for the coast that Vandenberg is on. I think it's the Abandoner Coast. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, that's right. Yes, it's true. Every single person that has left NSF for that company that shall not be named, that is the letter before Y, is out on the West Coast, basically. So yeah, it is the Abandoner Coast. And even people that went for some crazy idea of, mining asteroids and stuff, which is actually really awesome. And they just put out a new podcast episode about some of the findings that just came back from OSIRIS-REx, which you should also check out. But yeah. So under 2 minutes to go now from this. So we'll take
saying Vandenberg. That's not nice. I like that. Pat, that's funny.
You know, EJ, to correct you, it was not the 2 shuttle missions; it was 2 Gemini missions that were closer together.
Well,
Gemini 7 and 6 were 11 days apart, and STS 61C and 51L were 16 days apart. From
Let me
Alex
guess.
in the back channel.
Alex in the back. Yeah, okay.
Of
Yeah,
course.
Yeah. Yep.
Well,
All
I
right.
mean, I guess
That's fair.
it makes sense for 6 and 7. Oh my gosh, I said it the wrong order. Because that meant that they had to rendezvous and do the first ever in-orbit rendezvous, which was awesome. But
Yeah, where they literally just went around one another in orbit, just
with
kind
the
of
Go Army Beat
demonstrating
Navy
that.
signs, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, where they were making fun of each other, Army, Navy. Yeah.
Yeah, it was great. And Falcon 9's in startup. So next up, hopefully, they will give the go for launch.
LDs go for launch.
There we go. Kind of expected it for this one. I got to say, the Starlink, what was that, yesterday morning? Was that? Oh my gosh, that was yesterday. Yeah, that one, I'm amazed they launched in that weather. It looked like there was still rain. And anyway, we've got the different TE here, so it's already got that retract back to its current position here, as opposed to the slight retract we're used to on the best coast. I mean, out in Florida.
That's the oldest piece of hardware that SpaceX has, right there.
T-minus 10, 9, 8,
All right.
7,
Let's
Sound
listen to the
suppressor should
audio
turn
from
on.
the Pringles
4,
can.
3, 2, 1. Ignition. And liftoff of Falcon 9. Go SpaceX, go Starlink.
Delaying the camera there.
Vehicle is pitching downrange.
Boys, did that look slow off the pad?
It's hard to tell because I cut away.
Yeah.
No, that looks pretty fast.
Looks normal.
Yeah, okay, all right.
I think it was the delay in the camera view made it look a little weird.
Yeah, the desynced onboard shot to the external shot. That messed with me for a second. I'm like, wait, what is it doing?
Yeah, everything looks good.
Yeah, Ryan, you're right. That's
Telemetry nominal.
uncharacteristically clear skies.
Yeah.
Out there.
You're not kidding.
I mean, look, dude, you can see all the way up the beach.
Yeah, it's weird.
See almost the Pismo up there. That's crazy. Dude. Look at it. You can see all the way up to almost Monterey Bay. That's cool.
Also, do they not have external tracking cameras? I mean, it's cool, the onboard shot, but I want to see it going down range.
Especially when you get the views now. It's not foggy.
Right. I guess they just got rid of all their downrange cameras because of the clouds. But through max Q, maximum aerodynamic pressure.
Which I have like not kept up with how many Falcon 9 launches they have this year. Maybe Alex will give me the number of the back channel, and otherwise I can go look it
It's
up.
their
again.
36th.
Okay.
Yep.
Sorry, beat Alex to it. Courtesy of NASASpaceflight. How many plugs can we throw in consecutively between merch between
Right.
NASASpaceflight?
I pay so much attention to the Starship program, it's hard to pay attention to everything else. Like, truly.
Story of my life, man. There's so much to keep track of in this industry, dude. It's a lot.
You're not kidding. Jeez. Especially when it happens at the worst hours of the day.
Yeah, like, when I wake up after, like, sleeping or whatever, I'll go through all the Discords for Starship and look at updates, look at anything that I might have missed, anything rings that I may have rolled, any new hardware for ships, any new things with the launch site, production site, masses, anything. It's just stage separation
Back startup.
and ignition.
Beautiful. That's what we like to see, glowing MVAC. And now the booster popping out those grid fins. And getting ready to land on, of course, I Still Love You.
Separation confirmed.
And there goes the fairings, at least confirmation of it, and there they go.
Man, it's only the 4th flight for this booster. No, it's a little baby. It's just a little baby booster.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the one that has the 100 emoji on it.
Right? Yeah. 1100. Can you believe that? That's actually 100 Falcon 9s over its tenure. That's crazy. Yeah, right? I mean, go ahead,
man. How many
man.
launches total is Falcon 9 into as well? That's a whole nother number too.
619th mission. So we've had 100 first stages that have flown 620, almost 620 missions.
They are
okay. All right.
They're about 130, a little over 130 away from breaking the all-time record for a single launch vehicle launching just launches in general. And that was Soyuz 2 with, I think, 756, I think it was. R7, the R7 rocket family as a total has over 2,000. Yeah. But as for like a singular rocket, Falcon 9's getting pretty close to Soyuz 2 numbers, which is nuts.
Never thought we'd be saying that about any American rocket, just saying.
No. So, Starship will get there eventually. It's going to take a long time for Starship to ramp up to that, though.
When do you think Starship will hit 500 flights, Ryan?
Oh, boy. That's going to be sometime, I think. Because when you look at and we're getting into the Starship here, when you look at everything they still have to build infrastructure-wise, pads, gigabays, star factories, all the tooling, they have the missions to fly it. That is without a doubt, whether it's tanker flights, HLS, crew, moon base building flights, Mars colony building flights, their data center flights. They have the flights laid in. They know what they need to fly. The question is how quickly can they ramp it up? Because almost no rocket in history has like done that instant ramp up where they go from like 5 or 6 flights a year, which Starship's only going to hit like 5 or maybe 5 this year. I mean, considering where they're at right now, it's going to be early mid 2030s to hit that much.
I'd say that's pretty reasonable. I wouldn't say that's
at least a decade down the line.
Yeah, I'd say that's pretty darn reasonable.
I mean,
it's pretty good.
There's always that chance that it's the hilarious thing though. It's like there's entry burn coming up. They have one
supersonic retro propulsion.
There you go.
He got it in, folks.
Had to.
They have one pad, and they're about to get a second online by the end of this year. And then there's a possibility they have the second Starbase pad operational by the end of next year. But say you're mid 2028 for all the pads that are currently in production built. So that's 5 pads by nominal by mid to late 2028. I mean, the hilarious thing is if they have the boosters and chips, once all those pads come online, that cadence could just go bam. And all of a sudden they're just flying like crazy. It's the thing I just don't know when that'll happen. There could be that point where if there's like a finger snaps and Starship just starts flying like crazy. I just don't know when it'll hit that point.
Well, right now, I would say 9 flying like crazy here. Now about 10 kilometers up for the first stage. Sorry, go ahead, EJ.
No, she's coming in. Gridfins are going to start doing the work here in a moment. Yeah, I think mid 2030s is perfectly reasonable for 500 flights. Yeah, Ryan, I actually kind of, I know we don't do this on the flame trench, but yeah, I'm kind of with you. I'd say that's about right. Yeah.
And here's the other thing to that is I think eventually they're going to hit a point where the infrastructure is finally caught up. They have the vehicles. They've learned the rocket enough where all of a sudden Starship's launch cadence is going to be insane. Like you'll never have seen a rocket that'll fly as much as this thing will fly.
Oh, there's the landing burn. There's Gridfins. 1 kilometer up. Of course, I Still Love You is the drone ship. There's the view from it.
Stage 1, landing leg deploy.
Landing leg deploy. Ooh, there's a wiggly one today.
Deploy on the legs there. All right.
Nice firm touchdown on that one. Wow.
Bingo, right in the center. Is that what you're supposed to say? No.
Yeah, I was on that stream. Of course, Ryan Caton cut out my part in the intro on that one.
Now, one thing that Alex points out here, and of course this is Falcon 9, isn't even Starship, but 2 launch pads running, and with the understanding they have of how Falcon 9 works and everything, there's evac shutdown. They only have 2 pads running, and they're on course for 166 this year.
Well, at least for Falcon 9, they still have Falcon Heavy for that other pad, but yeah.
With just 2 pads, I'd say that's making it work, man. Those transporter erectors are getting the workouts.
Oh yeah.
Shout out to the SpaceX transporter erectors team, because those things are doing work.
And getting toasty.
I would say they're. I mean, Ryan, would you call Falcon 9's airplane-like operations? They're pretty close, dude. It's pretty close.
It's the only reason why I would say it's not is because there is refurbishment after every single flight. If you're talking airline operations, you land, reload, and you fly again in an hour. And when we get to Starship, we can really talk about when that could happen with Starship, because if they even get to that point, it's a long ways away.
I'm just waiting for the body cams now of the people in airports who try and barge onto an airplane, the people at a spaceport trying to barge onto Starship. Let me in! Help! Let me in!
Let me in!
I only had 3 drinks in the bar. I'm safe to fly.
Oh, dude,
Anyway,
I wouldn't want to go in microgravity with a buzz, dude. That's for sure.
Oh, I never fly with alcohol. I rarely drink. But anyway, Sonia Chris with the super chat earlier saying crane mats are also a thing.
Whoa. That's dangerous talk right there, sir.
That's you're thinking too much.
How dare you think outside of the box?
Right. How dare you think outside the render of the box?
I wonder if crane mats would be a little bit too high up for the crawler to go over.
I think they're too tall, dude.
Yeah, because the plywood's nice and thin and offers a layer to go the crawler to go over. That's actually a decent step up for crane mats. So I don't know about that one. Not for the crawler. For cranes, it's not really that big of an issue, but you probably have to put a gravel ramp, and I don't know how compacted a gravel ramp would need to be for the crawler transport.
Gravel ramps are awful. Don't make gravel ramps. Pave them, please. Oh, you mean for the rocket.
Yeah.
Hey, guys, I got an idea. So, we're talking about all this. It's it's such a pain in the butt, to, get the crawler transporter over this road. Why don't we just rip up the road and just put some river rock down in its place and do that? And instead of having that road there, people can just drive around the VAB.
Build a tunnel under it. No.
Boring company, we need you.
I don't know how much material you would need above that tunnel to be safe when you have the rocket rolling over it.
Also, that it's Florida wetlands, so.
True. That as well.
Salling saying the plywood was for the VAB door rails. It prevents the crawler transport tracks from friction welding to the door rails. A lot of very heavy loads use plywood from welding onto their platforms.
Interesting.
I didn't think about that. There really isn't. You don't think about the tracks.
Imagine crawler friction welding itself to that.
Well, wait a minute. They were putting plywood down on the roads, too.
Yeah.
I would understand that for the door rails and stuff, but the roads, too, is kind of what we're getting at. And that's what was, from those pictures last night, that's what that looks like that plywood was down on. I mean, it was kind of hard to tell, I suppose. The one that blew away was
the one by the door.
Yeah, but there's a road right by that door, is there not?
I thought that was for the floor of the VAB, so...
I mean, if it's for the rails, then yeah, I understand that.
That one. Caroline saying, why no track system for rollout? That is a long train track.
N1. What?
Yeah, N1 was also on a desert steppe and not in a swamp.
Yeah.
That's true. N1.
That's
the here. Just funny story about the N1. They used basically 2 proton transporter erectors combined on a double track rail system with two actuators that they used to use for the proton rocket. They used that in order as a transport erector to get it up on both Site 110 pads. That's still one of the more impressive engineering feats to horizontally transport the N1 rocket and then take it vertical with a transporter erector. It's still crazy to this day that they did that, but it's the Soviets, so they had some pretty insane engineering things and some not so good ones, but yeah.
In Soviet Russia, rocket roll yo.
Oh.
Oh boy. Ron Smith saying, everybody raise the VAB roof. 90s throwback.
That's what I'm saying. Should.
And then Fluffy come in because of our West Coast commentary. First saying, y'all are despicable. And then, Best Coast slander will not stand, man.
Yeah, you said it wrong. It's Abandoner Coast?
Yeah, Abandoner Coast.
Yeah, you said that wrong.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
So, EJ, cover your ears, because we have some sad breaking news.
Oh, no. Yeah.
Oh, no.
Oh, yes. Go ahead. Jay, do we have the stinger for it? Breaking news. There is now an RFP, that is a request for proposals, for a NASA-flown space vehicle multimodal transportation multiple award indefinite delivery indefinite quality contract. This seems to consider
like a lot of lawyers.
moving Space Shuttle Discovery. Yeah. Remember that whole thing?
Hey,
About,
I was just
yeah,
gonna
we're
say
going to
this.
move Discovery. No, you're not. It was a congressional mandate. They wanted to, and then they said no. Apparently, there's a call for proposals to see if it's even possible to move Discovery.
Look, I'm going to say this in the off chance that the people that are perpetrating this might be watching. Okay? Look.
Here we go.
Look. Let it go. Let it go. Be like Elsa. Let it go. All right? Just let it go. Whatever this is, it is a waste of time and resources. We are trying to go back to the moon in 2028. Let it go, dude. It stopped flying 16 years ago, all right? Just let it go. Keep it in the Smithsonian. It's fine there. It'll be fine there, all right? Just let it go. Focus on going to the moon, please. Stop. Stop it. Get some help.
So
We
here's
have
the,
other problems.
well, here's the official wording that they used where they actually mention the shuttle first off. So in the document, at the very bottom of it, there's a link to one in the attachments. And it says, as part of this DRFP, NASA is providing 2 illustrative example task orders representing different classes of transportation challenges. One example addresses the conceptual relocation of a larger aerospace vehicle comparable in size and complexity to a space shuttle orbiter or solid rocket booster. The second example addresses the transportation of a smaller spacecraft capsule comparable to an Orion crew module or Mercury capsule. Those are intended to represent the range of scenarios NASA may need to support. And
Oh,
yes,
yeah, the range of scenarios. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
The range. Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
And it discusses a large, in the cargo size classification, one of them is as an example of a large aerospace vehicle. The Space Shuttle Orbiter represents a class of assets that is exceptionally large and structurally complex. An asset of this class may require specialized transport cradles. This is page C3, 13 in the document. An asset of this class may require specialized transport cradles, heavy lift systems, route surveys, infrastructure assessments, protective environmental systems, and multimodal transportation planning, including barge transport, aircraft transport, or heavy haul transport.
How are you going to do it with a... How... I would love to see someone who tried to come up with a way to do this with the aircraft. Those aircraft not only don't really... I mean, they exist, but good luck getting a 747-100 and finding the spare parts to get that thing running. You're not going to do that. That's not going to happen. Those are no longer airworthy aircraft. Doing it by barge, you're going to damage the vehicle. And while moving it all, you're going to damage the vehicle. Hey, Ted Cruz, go home. Go home. Get out of here. I know it's you. Go home.
Yeah.
Get out. Focus on the new Artemis build. You know, the new structure of Artemis. Focus on that. Go home.
Yeah, this is stupid. Like, I'm sorry, I hate to be so candid about this, but it speaks a lot when the people that are, denoting our spaceflight policy are worried about, some grave injustice for not getting an orbiter. They didn't get an orbiter. We didn't get an orbiter. We didn't get one. You're like, dude, what? The Saturn V that you have isn't good enough? Like, what? You have 905. They have the shuttle transporter. Like, they have the 747 with a mock-up on top of it. What? This is not good enough?
By the
right?
way, I see people saying, oh, maybe it's just a part of it. It's is it? Might it not? They're very vague in mentioning, okay, this is all about something space shuttle size, space shuttle relevant. You want to get really into the specifics of them flat out saying this is what it's for? They have an example task order. An example task order 1. Background. Flown aerospace vehicle represents unique artifacts, history, etc. Talks about that. Government seeks industry recommendations for the movement of large flown aerospace vehicle between 2 locations. The objective of this example task order is to obtain industry recommendations for a technically sound and executable transportation concept for the movement of a large flown aerospace vehicle, which we just saw the definition of, from the Smithsonian National Air and Space Museum Udvar Hazy Center in Chantilly, Virginia, to the Houston, Texas area. If it wasn't clear before that they want to talk about Space Shuttle Discovery, this is their example.
You know what, Sawyer? You know what I just decided? So when President Kennedy was alive after he proposed the Apollo program, right? When he was alive, he proposed to have mission control in Boston. Mission control was almost in Massachusetts. And then when, unfortunately, he passed away, November 22nd, 1963, we don't forget that. It's just magically moved to Texas. It moved to Houston. That's so strange. That's so weird how it would just move to the home state of the vice president. That's weird. So you know what? To right past wrongdoings, I think the entirety of Johnson Space Center should just move. It should be called Kennedy Space Center 2, and we should move it to Cambridge. We should move it to Cambridge, Massachusetts. It was an incredible injustice.
Yeah. I agree. Yeah.
You see how stupid this sounds? I'm sorry. Like, this pushes my buttons, bro. Spend that money on building a lander or something. I don't know.
Because
it's ridiculous.
All in all, this could cost tens of millions. Like, put that towards development of a nuclear reactor for the lunar environment, or towards the lander, or towards the next space station, or I don't know, towards any number of things that NASA needs far more than something as stupid as this.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't know if you guys got the point. We feel very strongly about this.
Yeah, and again, I'm just going through this. This is breaking news, so that's why I haven't had a chance to read it beforehand. We're reading it with you. I literally just did Control F shuttle, and that's where I was finding all of these parts. And yeah, that's why when I got to the last one, which is on like the final 3 pages of the doc, when it's like, oh, here's an example. Say moving a large space vehicle, which we've already defined as something with the dimensions of a space shuttle, and moving it from the Udvar Hazy Center, which has a space shuttle, to Houston, Texas, which has a mock-up of a shuttle on top of their actual space shuttle carrier aircraft.
Also, where's Houston if by some magically dumb reason this were to even happen? Where's it going to go in Houston? Where?
to Space Center Houston, Texas. There, a temporary
what building?
protective structure near it.
What museum? What visitable place?
Well, they're so open with their visibility of being able to go in and see the Saturn V in Houston, right?
Right.
You don't need to go into super special tours to be able to access that or anything.
I think the shuttle is right where it needs to be. You step. I've been to that museum. You step into that museum and you look straight ahead. There's an SR-71 and then a shuttle behind it. It looks absolutely amazing. That is an amazing museum. That's where it should be. That's where it should stay. It's an awesome place. If you haven't been there, go there. See Discovery. See the Enola Gay. See the SR-71. There's a lot of cool stuff there. It needs to stay there. Don't move it. Don't damage it. Period. Just don't. No.
I think, Ryan, political nonsense aside, I think that is my biggest reason. Like, I don't know about you guys. That's my biggest reason for not wanting to move the shuttle. Even if somehow this was politically justified, right? Don't move it. What are you going to do? You have no mate-demate device. Where are the brackets to pick that thing up? Where are the people that operated those brackets to pick that thing up? Shuttle carrier aircraft, that's out of the question. So you're going to put this thing on a barge and sail it out to sea? Like, give me a break. That's the reason why I don't want this to happen. Like, I understand political stuff happens with NASA. Like, we get it. I mean,
we're about to talk about that. Yeah,
you know what I'm talking about? Like, I get it. That stuff happens. You're going to damage it. You're going to break the thing. The whole point, Sawyer, you were there for the end of the shuttle program. These shuttles, the museums that have the shuttles, they have them preserved in the exact configuration, as close as humanly possible to the exact configuration that they were in at wheel stop at the orbiter's end of life. You're changing that. It's so hilarious to me that they're citing history, like, oh, well, this is historical importance. No, you're ruining the historical importance of it by moving it, because the second you move it, you're changing that configuration. You're making it worse. It's further away from Discovery when it was at the end of STS-133. That's my big thing. Why this is annoying. Like, why this is stupid. You're ruining historical context. It's like in the 1800s when people would take ruins. Europeans would take ruins from their archaeological sites, and that's great that they preserved these ruins, but they ruined everything else in there trying to do it. Like, if you really wanted to preserve historical context, if you really cared about that,
leave it alone.
You would leave it right where it is. So get over it.
So here's the thing. I'm going to with a little different insight from everybody here. And again, chat is going nuts with this. There's a lot of back and forth on it. And by the way, the poll right now, moving Discovery, 90% reject, 10% still support it. For those who don't know, I was a volunteer with the Intrepid and worked for the Intrepid for a short time as a consultant with the education department. I was there when they were part of doing the Shuttle to NYC campaign. I was a part of the crew that was helping to campaign to get the Space Shuttle to New York City. Then once they were awarded Space Shuttle Enterprise, I worked with the education department on some of the original educational exhibits that were inside the first display of Enterprise prior to Hurricane Sandy. There was so much going on behind the scenes to get this thing there. The amount of campaigning, the amount of outreach, the amount of community support, the number of people that they asked to just say, hey, if you think New York should get one, help us out here. Enterprise did play a role in the spaceflight program. Again, it recovered a couple of capsules during the early days. So while it may not have played a role in the space shuttle program in that sense, it has a historic role in spaceflight history. And one of the big selling points was the fact that, hey, you're getting over 1 million visitors a year here. You're getting eyes on the shuttle. You are getting eyes on a piece of history, and you're getting more people connected with their past and with the future of spaceflight. that was part of what we were trying to do there, is to show that, hey, we want it here because of the amount of outreach it can do, the amount of education that we could do with it, at least from the perspective that I was working on, the way that we could get kids excited about spaceflight. So as we enter this new Artemis generation, that we could get as many kids and as many members of the general public as possible excited again about spaceflight and excited about wanting to be involved in a program like this, seeing where we've come and where we're going. That is why it's so important that we campaigned for it. That is why we got it. If you read up some of the articles from back in the day, Houston did not put out as big of a campaign. I mean, the Enterprise campaign was all across not just the tri-state area, New York, New Jersey, Connecticut. It was across the whole East Coast. They were campaigning like crazy for it. Houston didn't put up as much of a fight with kind of the mindset, at least, again, this is just from what I heard and from what I was reading at the time of, we're Houston, we're going to get one because we have to, because we're Houston. There was a big difference in the campaigns, and you see which one won. So I'm just going to put that out there from my perspective. I'm not saying what that means in terms of if it was the right decision or the wrong decision. I'm just going with, this is how we campaigned for it, at least from my side of things, and that was what ended up happening, was Intrepid got it. So
you know what? So I think we said our points. Let's just put a bow on this. All right, if you wanted more shuttles, you should have made more shuttles. If you wanted one in a museum, maybe you should have made more. Rockwell in the early 90s offered to build 2 shuttles for the price of one, and NASA said no. We would have had Endeavour would have had a sister ship. They had enough spare parts to build 2 orbiters.
It would have been what? The Independence and probably, and it probably would have been like the Independence and the Constitution, honestly. There probably have been the 2 names for it.
Well, one of them was Endeavour. They said, we got all the tooling and we have the spare parts. We could build you another one if we could build you 2 for the price that you're already paying for Endeavour, and NASA said no. Oops.
Yeah.
Yeah, could have had more. But you know.
I just wanted to give my perspective on that, not from an emotional side of, oh my gosh, don't destroy Discovery, which I do agree with. We don't want to cut it up, damage it, anything like that. But that's just my perspective on shoulda, woulda, coulda. And I believe if you've been to Enterprise and seen it, if you've seen Alicia's passion with Twist, which will be coming up after this, and just all the Intrepid does with it, you'll understand why it got what it got and why I believe they made the right decision on that. If you've seen the Atlantis exhibit, my goodness, what they've done to that exhibit. I get tears every time. And what California Science Center is doing now, having a full stack, having it vertical for launch, looking like that, I mean, that's unheard of. It's unprecedented. It's going to be spectacular.
I cannot. Once that's open, I'm going to see Endeavour as soon as that thing's open. That's going to look so awesome. Amazing.
I want to be there for opening day.
Basically, you've got 3. You get the 3 leftover orbiters in. I mean, that's of course not including Enterprise, but in like 3 different orientations. You got Atlantis, which is like it's flying on its side with its doors open and the arm deployed. You've got Discovery, which is just on the ground, doors closed, like it's basically rolling along the taxiway. And then you've got Endeavour, which is going to be basically like set for launch, stacked on its, stacked on an external tank with SRB casings. It's going to look so awesome.
And just to add, Ryan, you're absolutely right. That's a real external tank. It's a real tank. It is a flight external tank, and those are real casings. The stack of the California Science Center is all flight hardware, which is crazy.
Bonkers.
Dude. That's so cool.
Bonkers that they were able to pull all that together.
Yeah. Well, I think we've said our piece on that for now. If you really want to continue the Discord, there's now a post on X that is on the NSFX account, and I'm sure it'll be on the other social accounts too, which if you're not following the socials, you absolutely should. X, Facebook, Threads, TikTok, Instagram, Blue Sky. Check it out. I want to see the discourse going on that. And there's the link to the X post in chat. Thank you, Chris. So that is where the Discord, I think, will go from there. But it was a good conversation. So, I mean, yeah. We'll see what the fate ends up being for Orion. Because they did mention also moving an Orion-sized vehicle. So maybe they'll get a flown Orion capsule at some point. But, of course, It would have to be one that goes out to the moon, and in the future, it may be Starship taking Orion out to the moon, EJ.
Yeah, that's right. We had a yesterday, guys, there was a Sawyer Merritt who's kind of a he's a user
Sawyer.
on X. Yeah, no, not this Sawyer. Sawyer Merritt is a pundit on X, and he mostly posts about Tesla news. He posted an article from Bloomberg that said that NASA is about to change its plans to have Orion, for future Artemis missions, have Orion dock with Starship HLS in low Earth orbit, and then have Starship HLS do the translunar injection burn, and Orion to get out to low lunar orbit, and then separate Orion, and then go down to the surface with HLS, come back up, re-rendezvous with Orion, and then send Orion home. It represents kind of a huge shift in at least the tentative plans that we've seen from Jared Isaacman, but like wanting to standardize SLS architecture, like the Block 1S architecture, et cetera, et cetera. We haven't heard an official word from NASA, but it does seem like something that would be proposed in this kind of new era of NASA here, where they're kind of, there's like everything's kind of unprecedented, right? Now, yeah, I don't know. I like I said, I think this kind of works with what Jared Isaacman has been saying about, and I mean, let's call it what it is. He's been giving SLS an off ramp, or NASA an off ramp from SLS. Like, that seems to be how he's putting this how he's positioning ourselves for this architecture, to have NASA eventually use commercial or something else, something that's not SLS, that's for sure. And this kind of does seem plausible, but once again, we haven't heard any, like official word from NASA. Now, with all that being said, like, I don't necessarily think that this is a bad way to do things. I was talking about it on the rollout stream last night. I know this HLS does have enough to deposit, like rendezvous with Orion. It has enough delta V. So basically it has enough fuel in the tank, so to speak, to get Orion and get it to low lunar. Now, whether it has enough left over at that point for landing and then coming back up, I don't know. That remains to be seen. So I still have to run the numbers. I've done nothing but, cover the rollout stream, sleep, wake up, come back to work, and then come here, like, so I haven't run the numbers completely, but it seems plausible that this could be an architecture that works. Yeah, guys, what do you think about it? I mean, I don't necessarily hate it, but I also really don't like that, if this is a thing that, NASA seems to be giving SLS the shaft, which I really don't think is the right move, but, I don't know. What do you guys think?
The using Starship to do this, well, okay, so basically now Starship has to lug around Orion in its service module, which, to be fair, is not a lot. I forget, what is that, like 20 tons?
25 tons.
Yeah, 25 tons. So basically that's basically for Starship it means it's less payload you can carry, which for Starship you're still talking about 75 tons, give or take. And that's just kind of doing just the basic math. I don't really know how much it would really change it having to do a TLI burn with Orion and then getting it to the moon. What you could do is you could try to do that, and then also you do a much more circularized orbit, not your near rectilinear halo orbit, but do low lunar orbit. But you might also lose some more capability with Starship if you do it that way as well. You might only be able to use, I don't know, maybe 50 tons to the surface, which is still a lot. It's still 50 tons, but it's not as much as, say, the 100 that they might want to use if you weren't lugging Orion around. I think it's a thing they could do. I still think in the long term, I really truly think that in the long term, and this kind of goes into the other thing that there's also a topic, and I think it goes perfectly with this, is I think a station-like gateway works. I think it does, but gateway's too small. Like it's way too small, way too, and especially with the development issues it's had. I think a space station in orbit around the moon, to which you can dock to with Orion and have a lander already docked to it, means that you can have supplies, you can have fuel, you can have all sorts of things docked with you basically got a station plus 2 vehicles docked, and you can transfer between them and go to and from the lunar surface. And then when you're ready to go home, you go home. I know that was part of the architecture for it, but I also think that Gateway shouldn't be in NRHO. I think it should be in low lunar orbit. I think it should be. I think Gateway works, but it needs to be bigger, it needs to be better, and it needs to be in low lunar orbit.
Brian, hang on, I'm going to stop you there because we're not on Gateway yet. That is a whole nother topic I do want to discuss.
But it kind of goes with it.
I mean, while we're talking of low Earth orbit, though, I did read the article and I noted some quotes here. So one of them was that, again, they are planning. The revisions would call for Starship to propel Orion into a much tighter circular orbit known as low lunar orbit, was one of the quotes. So yes, this would change the trajectory. It would be specifically for low lunar, not near rectilinear halo, because that's everyone's absolute favorite orbit of all time, and no one absolutely despises it with a passion or anything here.
Yep, totally.
But, I mean, I just find that interesting that it would be able to do that. The other thing to keep in mind that I was thinking of is the fact that you still have to keep refueling Starship in orbit around the Earth, regardless. So you're going to have to fuel it up and then send it out. Would you rather have that extra propellant to be able to then do things around the lunar surface rather than having to lug it all the way out there with Orion on it? Because again, it's not that much more propellant, but given the fact you still have to do what you see on your screen there with all the tankers and everything, that's still precious propellant. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, you still have to fill it up. That's part of the thing, and then here's the thing: is if you want to take your payload along plus lug around 25 tons on the front, you're gonna have to also, you're gonna have to have more fuel in order to lug that around, especially if you want to get more payload there, which kind of brings in a Block 4 Starship with more prop on it. But right now HLS is going to be Block 3 because Block 4 is not anytime soon. It's a couple of years away from them even bringing it into the realm. And I know some people also might be bringing up like communication things. Just fill up a Starship with Starlinks on board and make a Starlink constellation around them. But anyways, I think you could do it. I'd be kind of curious how well the docking system holds up to straight through on a translunar injection too. I don't think it would have an issue taking that, but it's also a concern to have you're gonna do a full TLI burn with an Orion, mounted on the front of the Starship. So there's also something to consider there too. But
I was thinking solar panels and docking port, dude.
It's definitely something you could do. It's just you're going to lose payload capability on Starship.
Ryan, I was thinking of solar panels too. Solar panels in the docking port, man. Like,
can it take a TLI burn from Starship at power? Can it?
And that's the kind of stuff I was talking about. Like last night, you got to think. Okay, so you have Starship with Orion on it. Starship has those 3 engines in the center. Those have thrust vector control. You are absolutely going to need thrust vector control for this, right? And I was theorizing that you need the 3 center engines. You need all 3. And people are like, no, you don't need all 3. So like, okay, say in this conditional hypothetical, you fired 3 vacuum Raptors on HLS, and then you fired 1 of the thrust vector Raptors. You're slewing through space. Now you're flying sideways.
Yeah.
We're not sure about the loads that an IDSS docking port can take up to down, but I will tell you this right now, that docking port is not going to take a lateral load. It will break. I'll tell you this right now.
There's also a decent problem with Starship that'll somewhat get solved when it goes to 9 engines. It's that if an RVAC goes out, you have a off-center thrust, which you can compensate by gimbaling out of center if you have to. But if you're only running the RVACs, it's been shown in the Block 2 flights that when they lost one of their RVACs, they tumbled completely.
Yeah, that did happen. I was there.
They have a center of thrust issue at the aft end of the ship, which is something they'll need to solve. And I think 9 engines help solve that, especially 6 RVACs, because you can keep more running and whatnot. You can switch it. I think it might have been 8 when they it might have been 8 or it might have been 8 when they blew out when that RVAC exploded and chucked out. Well, the center engine let go and then it took an RVAC with it. And then the whole thing started to tumble out of control. But
sure that was that flight 9? Flight 8, or it was 8 or 9?
It was 8 because 9 was the pressurization issue in the methane tank. 7 was the resonance problem.
Yep.
Yeah. And
9 actually flew.
Like, Starship has that issue. So if you at all put a lateral load on that docking, I don't think Orion's surviving that. I don't think. Even just straight through center, even if you don't have any lateral issues, I don't know if Orion can take Starship putting out what 260 tons times 6 if they use everything. Can Orion take that straight through the front?
Yeah, that's really where I'm at. Like I'd be really curious to see, and it's not like, Ryan, it's not like NASA couldn't just design another docking port. But the IDSS is already made. It's already made on these Orions. So now you're unqualifying Orion. Now you have to requalify it with a new docking port. It's not that they can't make another one. It's just, remember, expediency is key here. If they're doing this architecture, we got to get back by 2028, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, I don't know. That's why I kind of theorized only the center 3 engines doing this burn. But, I mean, another thing to take into account is like, what type of efficiency hit are you going to take if you're not using the Vactors with this? You are going to take an efficiency hit because you have sea level optimized nozzles working in the vacuum. So, I'm not like, once again, I'd have to go back and run the numbers. I'm not even sure this architecture is possible.
So you see there, it immediately loses it and instantly gets off-center thrust. I know it also has an explosion in it, but that's off-centered thrust plus the explosion, so the thing just instantly tumbles. Like it has an issue with centered thrust control, especially with the way the RVACs are spread out. So it's something that SpaceX has to look at, especially with Starship's redundancy in engines. And you might need to come up with an RCS system that can compensate for it. But either way, it is an issue with Starship. But this could be for later missions, so you might need to, you might be able to come up with a new docking system. But you also have to remember HLS has that docking system as well, so you'd have to kind of reinforce the whole system and everything like that. And if we're like later missions, what are we talking about later missions? If we're talking about into the early 2030s with missions, well, at that point, why even use Orion? Use crewed Starship. Crewed Starship should be ready by then. Or for that matter, whatever crew capsule I would bet money that Blue Origin's making, too. I mean, there's got to be other options, honestly, along with it. I don't know. It could be possible. It's probably something that they're studying at this point. I mean, they do studies all the time to look at if something's possible, if something's not possible. That's probably all this is at this point. But I have questions on whether or not it would truly work out very well.
You say that. The article did mention that apparently the plan is something that would be approved if it goes through. So, as much as they say that.
It's a plan. Plans are great in theory. They are fantastic in theory. You can come up with all the plans in the world, but actually trying to implement it, that's another can of worms altogether. Be honest.
So here's a thought that Alex kind of brought up in the back channel, but was also brought up here by Real Levi's. It was saying, don't forget about the propellant boil off while waiting for SLS with the old plan. Does that change things, adding in the fact that you're not waiting for Orion to get out to the moon to dock with Starship? Instead, you're waiting just to dock with Starship in orbit, where in theory you would have more launch windows versus if you were going direct out to lunar.
Say that one more time, Sawyer.
Yeah.
What do you think? EJ, what
Say
are
that
your
one
thoughts
more
on
time?
potential boil off?
Yeah.
I mean, look, Starship has the. Actually, I mean, I was going to say they have the header tanks, but HLS though.
Yeah.
HLS likely won't have them, and if they are, they might be in the tanks. I might move them, but as far as I understand, I don't see why HLS would have headers. You don't need them, not to land on the moon. So you're not doing a flip and burn. And not only that, where the headers are supposed to be is where your docking port is supposed to be. So, unless they're going to go back to the SN days, which even in the SN days, the LOX header tank has always been at the tip of the nose cone. They'd have to move the LOX header into the bottom of the LOX tank or something if they were to have a header, which I wouldn't put it past SpaceX doing, but it's still a decent design change.
What? Just have your crew float through propellant. It's fine.
Yeah.
Right? Nothing wrong with that.
And for like a HLS Starship, you could try to modify the center transfer tube to be bigger, to make it more of a header, or modify bottom of it to possibly make it a header. Or there's definitely ways they could try to figure out how to do it. I wouldn't put it past them to do it, but as of right now, as far as I understand, HLS wouldn't have it. It should, because it shouldn't need it. So
yeah.
As for boil off, that is the biggest question mark, honestly, with Starship and to me. I am curious to how they will insulate the depots. Because tankers won't need insulation. You just go up, dock with the depot, transfer it over, come back. But the depot is going to have to hold propellant for time, and then transfer all of that over to whether it's a crewed ship, cargo ship, HLS, whatever, to then go to another planetary body or whatever. So I am curious what their insulation technique is going to be, how they're going to prevent boil off. I don't think we know exactly how they plan on doing that at this point. They're still trying to even make the original system work. So,
yeah, I don't know about boil off, but guys, sorry, I was teeing this up in the back channel. Jave, can you throw this up here real quick? Because look, you guys, people are talking like, oh, the docking port can take it. Look, this is the IDSS revision E. This is the document that NASA has off of NASA technical reports talking about compression load on the docking port. Compression load on an IDSS cannot exceed 3,500 newtons. So you have one Raptor. One Raptor can fire. You can't fire 6 Raptors with the docking port. It will break it. So I understand people are, like, oh, no, it'll work. No, it won't. Like, no, it won't. Like, this is a NASA document. I'll link the document in chat if you want to see it. It's page 55, page 3-36, IDSS SES maximum interface loads. It can't do it. And this is, look, we're talking about a shear load here too, potentially, because you have to slew. Because if you can only fire one engine, now you're flying the whole thing sideways because none of the center 3 Raptors are on the center line of the vehicle. So you're not talking about a straight compression load over the docking port. Now you're talking about a compression and a compounded shear load. You'd have to use some trigonometry to find the exact load results, but it would only be able to do it with one Raptor. Now, will you still have the Delta V? Yeah, probably. But you got to remember here, Orion has a shelf life with people on board. Ryan was just talking about boiled off propellants, right? It's going to take you a lot longer because you can't get rid of the characteristic energy, or you can't get rid of the energy. It's not total characteristic energy. You can't get rid of the energy fast enough. Long story short, that's not enough thrust to reach the moon quickly. Right? So
that's
now
you
have to
long burn.
That is a huge burn. You guys got to remember, Starship can move 100 tons to the surface. Ryan, how heavy is HLS? How heavy do you think it is? How heavy is a Starship right now?
With HLS fully loaded, with whether it's payload, say minus the 25 tons because of Orion and its service module off it, because that's what you're moving. but you're talking HLS with a 75-ton payload. Probably with all your ECLS systems and everything else, you're probably talking 160-ton dry mass plus the 1,500 tons of prop. You're talking a full ship. That's how much prop you have to push. Not to mention the dry mass. Like, that's one long burn. Like, how many orbits would it take to raise your apogee enough?
That's what
like,
I mean. You'd need to do multiple burns over time. Like, I mean, someone in chat suggested 3 Raptors throttled down. Yeah, I'll give you that. Yeah, that might do it. But once again, you're still taking a hit because you're using sea level nozzles in the vacuum. The center 3 Raptor engines, guys, do not get as good a miles per gallon as the vacuum Raptors. Because, well, they're designed for landing, right? And HLS will have them, despite it not ever coming back down and doing like a flip. It's not going to do a flip and burn, right? But I'm pretty sure they have the standardized thrust structure between HLS and regular Starship. That's what I mean. And this is what I mean about running the numbers. Like, I don't think the docking port can take those loads. I don't think the solar panel can take those loads. And you are drastically changing your flight profile here doing something like this. I'm not saying it can't be done. There's a lot of hurdles here. Like,
by the way, look at case 4 on this real quick.
Yeah.
This is for mated loads for unpressurized high axial tension load case modified from Constellation translunar injection loads analyses. So you were talking about the loads just in general. These are the loads for a mated vehicle. So in this case, we'll figure Starship for a TLI burn. That's case 4 on the right there. So yeah, I don't think that's going to happen at that current load. Okay, it looks like 300 kilonewtons compressive axial load, which Alex in the back channel is pointing out, that's the equivalent of 3 RL-10s.
Yeah, I know. That's really strange. Like, because, the EUS has 4, but they would no doubt throttle them, right? Like, oh, man. Now that
even with EUS, it wouldn't even work well.
Oh my gosh, yeah. But EUS is love. EUS is life.
Wait a minute. It's the same case for the EUS now. The EUS, oh my goodness, dude. They're gonna.
This is docking. This is through the docking port, though. Remember?
Yeah.
Through the docking port. So technically, Orion is stacked on it, not through the docking port.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. That's right. On the EUS, you have the universal stage adapter, so it would have been able to do it. Yeah. Okay.
But still, if you were to try to go through the docking port, no.
I think this was based on the original Orion capsule, which it was still called Orion during Constellation, and the Altair lander.
With 3 RL-10s.
Which, apparently had 3 RL-10s on its plan. So that's probably why they used those numbers. But still, imagine that now with 3 RVACs.
Wait, Sawyer, I got a question. You said it's old Orion. How the heck were they planning on using the Earth departure stage with Altair if this was the case with an Orion docked to it launched on an Ares 1? Wait a minute.
Well, wait a minute. Actually,
wait a minute.
Actually, though, you're right.
We're starting to poke holes in things here.
Oh no. Constellation, my beloved, how could you? Oh no.
Also, the shear load's only 10,000 newtons. That's like
nothing.
Especially when you're dealing with Raptors are overpowered for something like that was designed like Orion and its docking. That's the hilarious part about this is you have to remember how overpowered Raptors are for this system. Like this, the system in space, the highest thrust engine they're using is an RL-10, which is 110 kilonewtons. Like Raptor is 2,500.
Yeah.
2,600?
Somewhere in there, with the Raptor 3.
And that's not even before they finally uprate the Raptor 3s once they start flying them a lot. You then get into the 3,000 range. Like, the system is just straight up, nothing really was really made to take anything as powerful as that. Is the hilarious part of it.
Is it bad if this whole conversation slightly altered my perception of the Constellation program?
No.
Is that
How bad
bad?
it was?
Yeah. I like Constellation for what it's worth. I thought it was great architecture, but it's not great if you can't, because if your docking port that you designed doesn't work.
Or it'll work. It just won't be able to withstand the forces getting out of Earth's orbit. That's all.
Wow.
But Saad was wondering if you could.
Okay.
Was wondering, wouldn't the EDS and Altair have pushed Orion out in a similar way? Wondering if you could discuss that.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, dude. Wait a minute. If it couldn't, you couldn't do it. Like, I've heard people say, like, "Oh, Constellation's a boondoggle. It never would have worked." I'm wondering if that's what people are talking about here. Like, this is not. What are you doing?
And Altair at 4RL10. So wait a minute. You designed a docking port. That means you would. Oh God! And seriously,
Yes, stick rocket, my beloved.
One of the worst rockets to ever fly in the history of ever.
No.
Thank you, Ryan. I knew I liked you.
And we literally just poked so many holes in the Constellation program right there. Like,
yeah.
Oh boy.
Wait a minute. I'm serious. I do like Constellation. I think Ares 1, Ares 5 is a good architecture, but not if the docking ports don't work. Like, what are you doing?
They were going to fix that eventually. Oh yeah, by the way, that revision was from 2016.
Oh dear.
So, yeah, this was after Constellation was stacked that they still had those numbers in that revision. So
your plan of using Starship to get Orion to the moon that can't work.
I mean,
unless you significantly upgrade the docking system.
Yeah.
This plan is
or significantly throttle the RBAC.
This plan is already it's already torn asunder. It's no.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, actually, I didn't say that. You guys said this a little bit earlier. We were talking about, like, this might not be for Artemis 4 or Artemis 5, et cetera, et cetera. If it's for, like, Artemis missions down the road, like, if we're talking, like, Artemis missions into the 2030s or something, okay, that's enough time to redesign the docking port. Let's go. Sure, I don't have a problem with that. But, yeah, as some type of, kit-bashed architecture, no.
What's funny is I'm sitting here was thinking to myself as I was talking about Starship HLS and being like, it'd be a little bit less payload capacity to the moon and everything. And then I thought to myself, I'm like, well, the docking port wasn't really designed to handle that. Could it handle that? And here we are. We're like, oh, Constellation wouldn't even worked at all. It was just we just started poking holes in things.
It clicked in my head, and I'm like, oh no, I like Constellation.
Hey.
Not only do I like Constellation, I've been saying Constellation is awesome for years.
You could see the moment it clicked in your head on camera. It was just that
really
crud moment.
I was like, oh no, no,
so
Mike Griffin, you failed me.
As we figure out using SLS and Starship combined alongside New Glenn and then Gateway, at least a better design Gateway, is the way to go. Honestly. At least for now.
You trying to transition me here, Ryan?
I tried that. Did it work? Did it work?
Kind of. Let me thank some people first, then we will. That was good, actually. Kate Green, thank you for becoming a Pad Rat member. And Rosebud with a $10 tip at tips.nasaspaceflight.com saying, I love listening to flying way over my head. We try to explain it. Well, then again, we're talking about spaceflight. Everything flies over your head because it's in space.
Yeah, what he said. I mean...
yeah.
Oh, boy. But anyway. Gateway. Gateway's dead, right? Apparently not, depending on who you ask. The whole restructuring of everything going on with SLS, it seemed like Gateway was going to be done. It was going away, like EUS, like Mobile Launcher 2. It was stuff that was built that wouldn't really fly. But ESA seems to think this is still going to happen, oddly enough. So there was a new graphic that was actually just released by ESA. You can see right there on your screen. And it talked about, in the graphic there, it says that the Gateway will be assembled this decade, still in the description of it. There you go. Built as part of the Artemis programmee, in an international collaboration between ESA, NASA, the space agencies of Canada, Japan, and the United Arab Emirates.
Can we just point out that they don't even say a specific year? They just say this decade.
Before this decade is out.
That's just funny. That's just funny. But
What was that, Sawyer? What was it? Would you say that again?
Before this decade is out, we will get Duncan. I don't know.
He said that, you know.
And then on top of that, there was a whole big ESA conference that happened earlier this week, and the Deputy General of ESA said in one of the press briefings that, quote, NASA is bringing the international community together here in DC next week. This is from a tweet from Martha Smith, saying that he's looking forward to learning about the new Artemis architecture, including Gateway, a welcome opportunity to see what the proposal is. Excuse me, the Director General, sorry. DG, it's very, yeah. So this is interesting that they're talking about NASA bringing the community together in DC next week to discuss Artemis architecture, including Gateway. ESA is releasing out graphics saying, hey, here's this cool stuff about Gateway. I believe the Canadian Space Agency a week or two ago put out a thing talking about its role with Canadarm3 in Gateway. So is Gateway actually still going to be a benefit? Is it still going to be a thing? Is this something that, like we were talking about earlier, Ryan, that we need to just say, you know what, let's keep it but move it from near rectilinear halo to low lunar? I don't know. Is Gateway still alive?
I think you keep Gateway. You just keep making it bigger. You build off of it, and you make it a much bigger space station around the moon in low lunar orbit. That's what I think you do with Gateway. You've got something decent to build off of. Yes, Starship is much bigger than Gateway itself. Yeah, I know. It is what it is at this point. But I honestly think a space station around the moon would be something that would be nice to have. And to go from scratch to build a new one, you're probably talking 10, 15 years at this rate with how slow things are with building space stations. I say you build it, you launch it on Falcon Heavy, you keep it around, and then you add sections to it via Starship, and then you eventually get rid of the older sections, and you just kind of build off of it. I think you do that. I want to see a space station around the moon. I know Gateway has a lot of people kind of like, it's not really that great. But I mean, it'd be a space station around the moon. I think it's still kind of cool. Maybe that's just me. I don't know. I like space stations.
EJ, yeah. I know you're a huge fan of near rectilinear halo orbit. Your favorite orbit around the moon. What do you think?
You know what, dude? I don't hate near rectilinear halo orbit. I really don't. I'll be honest with you. I really don't hate Gateway either. What I don't like about Gateway is that it's not up there. The problem with Gateway is that it's not there. If Gateway was in rectilinear halo orbit right now, like when they said that it was going to be, right? Like they said Gateway, Gateway's going to be up there, in 2022. Well, it's not that anymore. If it had gone up then, right? They even justified like, we'll launch it on Falcon Heavy. That way it'll get there on time. We'll take it off of SLS, take it off of the SLS co-manifest payload logistics, right? But Falcon Heavy will launch the Halo and the PPE by themselves, to get there faster. Yeah, about that. Like, it's not that I don't like rectilinear halo orbit or Gateway or anything like that. My thing is that they should be up there right now. The best time for Gateway to launch was 2022, right? As we, how much cooler would this Artemis 2 mission be if Gateway was there right now? Right?
They'd probably dock with it, do some stuff with it, and come back.
That'd be sick. That'd be a perfect mission. You get to trial Orion out in deep space. You got, not a broom closet full of space for 4 people for a really long duration mission, right?
And then the next mission, and then it even makes even more sense for Artemis 3. You then do it in low Earth orbit. You test out the HLS landers. So at that point, you've tested Orion in an uncrewed mission. You've tested Orion with crew, with Gateway and everything. Then you've tested Orion with the HLS. Next step is put it all together and land. That makes a whole lot of sense rather than just free flying around the moon. Just what?
Yeah, like sorry, I don't have a problem with it, but honestly, at this point in time, dude, I'm kind of with Ryan. Like, I don't mean to keep agreeing, kind of with Ryan. Just low lunar is much better suited for a concept of operations where time is expedient. So, like, oh, we got to go back by 2028. That makes much more sense. If it's in low lunar, you're streamlining your approach, just like the Apollo program did. The Apollo program didn't mess around with cislunar space or Lagrangian points or near rectilinear halo orbits. They straight up brute force that CSM and LEM into low lunar and went down to the surface because time was of expedience. Did that carry risk? Yeah, but I would argue going to rectilinear halo orbit carries more risk because you significantly complicate your mission, but that's another story. But yeah, I would say low lunar. I agree with Ryan.
I still want to know what happened to Dragon XL. You're right.
Gray Dragon, Red Dragon. Come on, but
I mean, like with Gateway as a whole, hey, we're upping the cadence of SLSs. Okay, all right, cool. Let's get Gateway up and running. All right, cool. Okay, it wasn't meant for permanent occupancy. Well, let's change that. Let's build a way to do a resupply mission. And if you're making more and more SLSs, let's have an Orion dock there. And you can have the station help power it. You make the station bigger, and then you have a permanent occupancy with science instruments around the moon.
So you can see in the graphic
can live
here,
in dream, right? I can live in dream.
You can see in the graphic here, that's the originally planned kind of orbital trajectory plan for Gateway, as ridiculous as that looks. But a couple things. Someone I saw brought up in chat the fact that if you go into a low lunar orbit versus this, it's going to take a lot more propellant to keep it in that proper orbit, versus one where you're further away, where it's okay if it varies a little bit more, especially given the fact that it is not permanently crewed, that you will have people coming and going under the current plan. The other thing that I'm going through in my head is, at this point, why do we even care about lunar orbit right now if the main focus is lunar bases? So yeah, it would be cool and all, but would it be cooler to have bases on the moon instead of just, another space station?
I think a full lunar base along with the lunar space station kind of go hand in hand, because you look at the architecture in order to get to and from the lunar surface. You would basically need a lander. So either you're using Starship to go to and from orbit, but if you're actually building a full lunar base, Starship is overkill to do anything of the sort. You're probably talking some form of something like the LSAM from For All Mankind, something that can shuttle people to and from the surface of the moon up to lunar orbit and dock with something that can then take them back. Well, at that point, you're like, okay, well, you got to dock with Orion to take him back, because it's the only thing with a heat shield, unless you have like a crewed Starship at some point in time in order to take him back, which is always a possibility. You could try to have a Starship loiter, but then you're also got to worry about boil off and all that other stuff. But the other thing you could do is you have the halfway point. Rather than just going up and docking with a station, or say docking with a vehicle, you dock with a station, and you transfer over to a vehicle that's been getting internal power and maybe refueled with the station up there, I don't know, or something along those lines. And then it leaves and goes back to Earth. I like the idea of having a station in orbit around a planetary body when you're building a base on that planetary body and going to and from it, rather than just saying, oh, okay, we have this base, and then we just have the return vehicle in orbit. Oh, no, we can have also a station in orbit, too. I just think it's better. Just our better architecture overall. It's more science, it's more everything. That's just me, maybe.
I mean, I get where you're coming from. It's nice to have the more science, but it feels almost... I'm trying to find the right word for it. It feels kind of out of place at this point with the current architectural plan. early on, yeah, that would have been great to kind of have that as the presence and that intermediary jumping off point, especially if you have something like Starship that's going to need to do all of that prop load in low Earth orbit. So it gives you time to kind of hang and wait there while it's finishing up its prop load, come over, and you've got a refilled lunar lander that's ready to go as soon as it gets there. I get that part, but with the way that the architecture has changed, especially now with, the way they've standardized everything, the way that they might end up bringing Orion out with Starship and, the whole mandate of having that permanently crewed base on the surface of the moon, it just feels like old at this point, especially now that NASA's focusing so much on Earth orbit being commercialized, so commercial space stations for everything, to then go into another station. I don't know. And I'm just going to throw this out there too. From a scientific standpoint, what do you benefit of having a space station out around the moon that is crewed versus having one in Earth orbit? Because you're still at microgravity at that point. Yeah, it's a better view. I'm sure you can do some lunar observation, but couldn't that also be done remotely too out there?
You're in deep space. That was the whole impetus for Gateway, Deep Space Research Station. You know what? Like, yeah, sorry. I mean, yeah, that's the thing. Like, but can I just say something real quick? I see a lot of people in chat say like, well, you guys, you just hate Gateway. All right, you have all the answers. You know what? It's like, honestly, and I don't know, maybe I'm just having a weird day. If they want to launch Gateway, launch it. If we have you have a commitment to our international partners, launch it. Put it in rectilinear halo orbit.
Or space hardware.
Yeah. Like I'm sorry. Like I was reading what people said in chat, and I was just thinking about it. Yeah, I really wish Gateway was up there. It'd be better for the Artemis architecture. But sorry, you talking too just kind of clicked it in my head. Like if we're gonna be sending Starships and Orions out there like constantly. They can just go down to the surface. They don't necessarily need to stop at Gateway. But if you have like a Block 1S, SLS that's, on tap, like to the tune of like once a year or something, right? That's enough to do. You could do some crewed missions out at Gateway, get some good science on deep space habitation. And you can also do the moon stuff. What, does SpaceX not have enough rockets to do this? Like, we have a commercial sector where we can leverage building a city on the moon. And that is entirely agnostic to NASA's in-house architecture.
What
I was thinking about it. Like, all right, fine, launch it.
What if you
I'm having a weird day,
what if you come up with a commercial mission through a crewed Starship and you dock with Gateway to do some science or just offloading supplies and things like that and whatnot, and then maybe I don't know, maybe you want to go down to the surface and then you swap to the lander because the crewed Starship can't go down because it's not really designed to go to the lunar surface. So you take that down to the surface. From that, rather than docking to it in orbit, you just dock to a space station first that has landers on it. And at this point I'm talking like Gateway, like times like, I don't know, 3 or 4, make it way bigger. And multiple docking areas and all that other fun stuff. I don't know. I just want something like Earth Space Dock and Utopia Planitia Fleet Yards, and that's just me. I mean, that's kind of where I'm at. And the more space stations we build, the closer we get to doing orbital construction, and space stations help you do that. And
yeah,
that's just me.
Ryan, like I'm trying to think about it just in the scheme of things. You got Starship, like I said. Chad, that's a good point. You got New Glenn. We got New Glenn. Those are 2 super heavy launch vehicles. NASA could do commercial resupply services and payload deployment of an entire moon city, and you could still do Gateway. Like,
yeah,
this is not going to add much to the cost, and these modules are already, being built. I put being built in quotes because I don't. The Halo and the power and propulsion element don't seem like, per past OIG reports, they don't seem like the best managed programs around. They forgot the wire harness for the Halo module, figuring into full mass design, and that made it too heavy. Yeah, they forgot that the wiring is dry mass. No, I'm not making that up. That was in an OIG report. So
that was a while ago. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably been fixed for now, from now, but like, yeah, why not? Why not send this stuff, right? Why not
Yeah.
at this
I mean,
point?
two things. One, Jake has a question here.
All right.
He wants to know, will there be fish on board? He would like there to be fish on
Sure.
board.
Why not?
He likes fish. He also likes chicken. So he was asking that. But for those wondering where Jake is, he's right here. The other question that was asked by Lords of Random is how? It was meant to be brought to the moon via SLS Block 1B, but that's off the table now. So how would it get there? Because you've seen from the videos that we've been playing, they have modules that are either built or in the process of being built.
Falcon Heavy, New Glenn, and eventually Starship. Yeah, I mean, like, yeah, Block 1B, SLS isn't there anymore, but you have a super heavy lift vehicle in the terms of New Glenn, which is only going to get more capable and is a relatively much cheaper option to use than SLS Block 1B could ever hope to be. And it's got the upper stage capable of taking it there. Like, literally, New Glenn is the rocket to launch Gateway. Like, there is almost no other perfect rocket to do it, to be honest. I mean, Starship, but you need the payload bay system to be working, and right now, all they have is a Pez dispenser door. So they got a little bit of ways to go work on that.
I mean, yeah, because like we had talked about, they had changed the plan after it was going to be, hey, here's, the cargo variant of SLS that's going to bring it up. And then that went by the wayside. So it was like, oh, we'll do Falcon Heavy. But you have all these other vehicles. Again, you need to get it on the manifest. You need to be able to make sure that it can lift it, time it out and everything. Because I don't see on the manifest anywhere, next spaceflight or anything of, hey, we have, a set date to launch this lunar module part on Falcon Heavy. We haven't seen anything yet, have we, of request for a launch vehicle from Blue Origin to say, hey, you're going to launch one of these modules from us? Have we even seen that yet?
I don't think we've seen that. And the one thing I've always been shocked about, and it's always taken a while, it kind of goes with Space Station 2, is Haxiom hasn't done that either. Like, about that's the one thing is I still think we should launch Gateway simply because, yeah, we built the ISS, but we could always learn how to build space stations better and more efficiently. And we're learning those lessons with Gateway and other things. Is we need to learn how to build these things if we're going to keep, doing it. So, and not only that, your HAB modules on the lunar surface are going to have to, they're not going to be exactly like space station modules, but they're going to have to, they're being an unpressurized area. Of course, you're in vacuum. There's no atmosphere. So you're going to have to learn how to do that. And the more you build, the more you learn how to do it. So that's kind of part of it too with me as well.
Yeah. For the people who say that I'm being negative about Gateway, look at the cat. Look at the cat. Don't listen to what I'm saying. Just look at the cat.
What Sawyer's trying to tell you guys is that he doesn't want a space station. He needs a secret underground lunar lair with his cat.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, of course. He just jumped off before I could do the $1 billion.
That's what he's trying to tell you.
Which for Gateway would actually be pretty cheap. Just saying.
Oh, Sawyer didn't get enough sleep and chose violence today.
Oh, the violence has very much been chosen today, but and yet here I was trying to be the voice of calm during the shuttle thing, but now we get to Gateway and all of a sudden the filter comes off. Here's the thing, I do like the idea of Gateway. Let me put it this way. I liked Gateway when it was announced. I liked the concept at first. Here we are, though, almost a decade later, and look where we're at with it. At least with Artemis, even though it's been a decade later, we've had a flight and are about to have a second. We are nowhere close to anything viable at this point yet with Gateway. Again, you saw Issa's update. By the end of this decade, it's 4 years left. So, less than now, because it's already March. Just saying. I don't know, that's my thought on it. See, there it is. We assembled this decade as part of the Artemis programmee. And yes, someone called me out for saying that. I also say Kalur when I see that.
So Does in this decade mean in the next 10 years, or does it mean in the 2020s in this context?
It doesn't say the next decade, it just says this decade. So to me, that reads the 2020s.
Okay. All right. Time's ticking.
Exactly.
All right.
It's what is it? March 20th, 2026. Yeah.
If it's April 1st, we're in Artemis launch time.
Yeah,
Oh,
right.
no.
So.
Yeah, I was just, that's some clarification on what decade we're referring to.
That's fair.
Ooh, halo module, nice.
Yeah. Hello.
It's not a phone, Sawyer. Hello, Morto. Not a phone.
Hello.
Halo. Oh gosh, you got me doing it too.
I'm not getting any connection because it's still not up in space yet. Anyway.
Okay, that was a good one. I gotta get that one to you. That was a good one.
Thank you. The violence has very much been chosen today. I think we need to move on before I say something that's gonna get me posted on X. Anyway,
people do that with me all the time. It's because I make funny faces like this.
Well, there you go. Someone already posted the GIF in the back channel of you with the plywood earlier, so fair enough.
Oh, great! That's on the internet. That's.
Oh, well, it is. Yeah, I guess it's on the internet. It is in GIF form as well. So there you go. Anyway, someone needs to take a plank to my head at this point because I think we need to move on and keep going here because I'm losing it. So we should go to someone smart that knows about this next topic, which is Starship, and give us the update on where we are. Max isn't here. I'm doing the Maxism. Ryan, take it away, please.
The segue I was gonna say would be, hey, let's go to a program that's actually advancing.
Oh, well, it's still not orbiting.
Spicy.
I mean, well, yeah, it's not in orbit, but it's advancing at least. Hey, Starship Booster 19. It completed since the last TFT. It did an igniter test and a static fire, and it's since rolled back to Gigabay 1. I gotta say, it was nice to finally see a booster back out on the pad. It was for 10 days. It went out there, did 4 full tests, 4 tanking tests. One of them ended with 2 of them ended with a deluge. First one was just tanking. Second one was a spin prime. Then they did an igniter test, which we'll get into. It was kind of a little weird one. And then, of course, they did a static fire, which ended early due to a GSC issue, I guess. There could have been any number of things as to why that ended early, but it was about a second for that static fire. First ever static fire on that pad. I cannot wait to see a longer duration one to see how that plume works, because even the plume just from 10 engines igniting for a second, that looked like it was going to look amazing. I'm kind of disappointed that they decided not to redo it and go for a longer duration, but I guess they just want to get all 33 engines installed on this thing. And they were fine with the data. But yeah, finally engine testing out at the launch site. That's the first engines ignited since October 13th of last year, when Flight 11 lifted off. And I'm excited. The Starship program is starting to push forward. There's a lot of stuff that still has to get done. 39 has to go out, get engine testing. You can see here that SpaceX finally did a post about the Pad 2 activation campaign. The 10 engine static fire ended early due to a ground side issue, but I guess the data was good enough. They felt like they didn't need to try again, and they just figured, we'll roll it back and install all the engines. And as I said, they're going to prepare for a 33 engine static fire next. We'll see if they go straight to 1. I would think they're probably going to do like a couple of static fires. I wouldn't be surprised if they do like a a 13 engine static fire from only the landing tank to test that new plumbing, plus a full 33 just to test everything. And maybe a few to dial in the trench itself and the water deluge systems, because they've been firing off those deluge systems a lot, but of course they haven't ever had Raptor exhaust on them except for once now. But I'm just excited for the program finally getting vehicle testing back. It's been a long time coming.
It has been. It's nice to finally see it back out there and see testing in action again. But I mean, there was that whole question about the that static fire attempt looked very, very short, and obviously SpaceX kind of posted their update about it. Ryan, what was your thought during the stream, and what was the actual one?
At first, I thought it might have been a startup abort. And then I looked closer at the footage, and you could see how the the depress vent started several seconds after, so it kind of made it seem like it might not have been a startup abort or anything. But what it turned out being was it was a GSC side abort. We don't know what part of the GSC system caused the issue. It could have been water deluge related. It could have been spin up related. Could have been in any number of things related. We don't really know what. SpaceX didn't specify what it was. But apparently whatever data they got for however long those were on, which was like for about a second, they were satisfied with, and that they were good to go ahead with the next testing campaign for it, which is 33 engines, and get it back onto the pad. And that's another step towards Flight 12. It's definitely been a long road, but we're getting there, bit by bit. I do find it nuts. I mean, we talked about how they're able to load the tank in like 30 minutes, the whole booster. If you look at the capacity for loading ship, they can do with the pumping capacity plus the subcooling capacity, they should be able to load ship in like 20 minutes. The previous, it's taken them 50 plus minutes to do it. I wouldn't be surprised if that's cut by like 2/3 down the line here, especially with the increasing capacity. So you're probably talking a full stack load in 30 with the ship loaded in 20, or something along those lines. And then the other part about that is back in the old Launchpad, they had, what was it? You basically had about 2 hours before you would get an OLM vent start, and then maybe another hour before they would start prop load, maybe half an hour before they start prop load. At this point, the indicator we have now is the methane reclaim vent. When that starts, it's about an hour and a half, and then it's prop load, and then a half hour later it's loaded, and then they're ready to fire. And they're ready to launch. That's where they're at now. That's much, much faster than before, much more efficient system, and I cannot wait to see it on a launch.
Oh my gosh, yeah, that is going to be exciting. So I guess the next step then is all 33. Do we see an all 33 static fire coming up? Or
Yeah,
do they
I would
maybe
expect an
change
all
the
30
testing campaign given the fact that they had to only do like a half-second burn on that first one?
They'll do a 33 engine. The question is, do they do it right away? I honestly expect a couple of static fires. I wouldn't be surprised if they do a 13 engine static fire. Maybe 2 of them, one of them using the LOX landing tanks to test that plumbing. And then they go ahead and do a full 33 engine static fire. And maybe it's like a 10-second long. It'll look amazing out of that trench. And I don't know how long it's going to be. It could be a couple of weeks until we see it roll out with all those engines on. But either way, we're getting closer and closer to the launch, which, considering some of the other stuff they have to do, which we don't know if they're installing engines on S39 right now, or if they're going to use the new thrust sim stand, which is nearly finished at this point. 39 still has to static fire. Of course, 19 still has to finish its static fire campaign. They they still have to test the new 18.3 test tank, which is still in Megabay 1 right now. That's going to be for testing the new grid fin sockets. That kind of has to get done before they fly, so they know that the grid fins aren't going to bend and rip a hole in the methane tank on the way back in. That's kind of testing that kind of has to get completed. And then 39.1's got to get crushed. And then, of course, they have to do full stack testing, including a wet dress rehearsal. There's a lot left on the table, and we're near the end of March. I don't think this thing is going till May, but we'll see.
There's the Ryan Weber we know and love.
Hey, what?
You think May?
But, yeah, I think May. I don't know where New Glenn Flight 4 is at, but I'm getting to the point where I wouldn't be surprised if New Glenn Flight 3 and 4 fly before Flight 12.
3 and 4.
Yeah. We'll see. I don't know how far along 4 is, but I wouldn't put it past. Yeah, we'll see.
I mean, did you see how many GS2s they have sitting in their factory? There's a lot, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you need GS1s. That's the issue. Right now you have...
They got one of those.
Don't tell me the odds, and that's it for now.
Yeah,
or never tell me the odds, whichever one it is.
That's one.
Yeah, if we're talking 2 flights. I get you're reusing them, but
dude, that first stage is designed to be fully reused. It's not some type of iterative mechanism that's like, oh, we gotta attach grid fins now we need landing legs, now we're gonna try to land. No, it's that thing was built with reusability kind of out of the box.
Right, but we're talking to be able to fly, I think it's no earlier than this month, so within the next week or a half, maybe 2 weeks, whenever it ends up being, the next space flight there for New Glenn's next flight for AST. They still then have to refurbish it, turn it around, and you think they're going to be able to do that in a month or so.
That's what I'm trying to tell you. There ain't no refurb with that thing, dude.
Well, you know what I mean. But it's still early enough that it will only be the second landing. You think they'd want to inspect it a bit.
Maybe. Either way,
I guess.
You think both of those, though, before we see Starship Flight 12?
I think it's possible. I mean,
Falcon Heavy would get to 12 flights before Starship.
Oh, Falcon Heavy isn't even at 12 flights. I forgot. I didn't even remember that. It really goes to show how little Falcon Heavy flights we've had. We've really been starved of that rocket, haven't we?
We have.
Yeah.
I miss it.
But
EJ, what do you think of this?
I think the next Falcon Heavy flight will go, assuming the payload's ready, I think it'll go before Flight 12.
Where's Jacqueline? There it is.
Where's Jacqueline? There it is.
What do you think, EJ? Do you think that May is more likely, or are we talking April for Flight 12?
I've been saying the end of April for a long time now. That hasn't changed. I would say April. Yeah. Ryan, they got a lot of stuff to do, but I think it'll get done in time. I mean, yeah, they're moving for 33 engines on the first stage. That thing will be out. That thing will be out there sooner rather than later to do, frankly, one of the craziest things that anyone's probably ever seen in spaceflight, And you know what, man? I'm here for it. Let's go, man. I was about to say let's blank and go. Let's go. This is gonna be great. I think it's like in Rogue One. We're on the verge of greatness. We're on the verge. It's almost there.
Almost there. But
yep.
I mean, it's still this setup of which I gotta say, looking at the pad, I love the look of this pad. I fell in love with the look of the new Launchpad.
It is a looker.
It's like much more of a Launchpad than the test stand that it had before.
Right.
Which was it was a test stand turn launch pad, is what it was for all intents and purposes. But we were talking earlier about how how long it would take for Starship to get up in flight cadence. So it was around when we were talking about the during the Starlink launch, and well, you've got this launch pad here, and then you've got the other one that's over there. As DJ likes to say, this pad and that pad.
I'm gonna keep saying that until that becomes a thing. That's
Oh my God.
that pad. The first pad is this pad,
Copy.
and then the one at 39A is the other pad.
What
Does that
about
mean-
37?
And who's on first?
What's
Starship.
37's pads?
Those other pads.
Those other pads. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, copy.
Yeah. Yep. Okay, copy
And
that.
4. And
Okay,
4.
copy that. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
in
Nerds.
honor of Max. Help. Anyways.
Help.
If you don't know what we're talking about with the help, and I know some people were concerned for some people who were saying that, check out EJ's Twitch a little bit later tonight after Flame Trench and after Twist. Go check it out. Anyway.
But you look at the Starship program as a whole, and they've got the pad there. They got pad 2. They're redoing pad 1, which they're getting pretty close to being done with the sheet piles. They're not that, they're not far away from that. They're starting to do the commodities trench on the sheet piles themselves. So they're starting to lay that down. The main trench walls are almost done. Once that's done, they can start digging stuff out because they've been doing the deep soil mixing. They can start digging it out, doing tiebacks into the sheet piles, and then they can start digging it in. One thing I will of note is there's a possibility that the new launch pad could start soon at Starbase. There have been some things that have showed up that are required for building that thing, and that could start sooner rather than later, which that takes about 6 months to build and 7 months to build.
No.
God,
Ryan!
No.
Ryan!
No.
Ryan!
I don't even
Bad,
think
Ryan.
about it when I
Bad.
say it, but anyways, either way.
Why?
All right, I'm done. Yeah, I'm out of here.
We shamed him. Now I feel bad.
I don't. I don't feel bad for it. Number of times I got shamed for accidentally saying it, and the times that I said it intentionally. How is this meme not dead yet?
Right.
never
I
going away.
don't even know what it is.
It's like Monty Python, not dead
I
yet.
don't even
Yes,
understand
you are.
what it is. Like I'm old. I don't understand. What?
Old.
I don't know.
The 2 people in the boxes above you are older.
You guys don't understand it?
I never understood what that meant. Never
Really?
did. No.
Huh.
No.
They
And
don't
we don't need to
understand
talk
it.
about it, so we're just gonna move on.
That's
Now that
pretty
we've
funny.
angered all of chat, and more importantly, angered the mods, who have to now sort through all of the 6 sevens.
Bad
Sorry.
Webby.
Sorry, guys.
Sorry, guys.
Shout out to our mod
Anyways.
team. They do a great job.
Anywho, they got to build these pads up. They got to build 37 up, finish 39. So that's 5 launch pads. They're making good progress on the Gigabay at not only Starbase but Roberts Road as well. Roberts Road, they're up to the height of where they're going to put the bridge cranes for the aisles, which is about 100 meters up, is where the aisle bridge cranes are going to be at. So the expectation is a pair of 400-ton bridge cranes in both transfer aisles that can pick up a vehicle from any workstation and plop it into another workstation in that transfer aisle, which is I cannot wait to see the interior of those if they ever show us once those are done. But basically, it's basically like the vehicle assembly building, but instead of 4 high bays, it's 24 workstations. There's the Roberts Road one. They're starting to get high. You can see a ton of cladding already going up on it. They just started cladding on Starbases last night, but they're making really good progress on these. And we were talking about infrastructure needed to advance the Starship program, and these aren't going to be the only ones they're going to build, guys. As far as I understand, their plans are to build another one at Starbase alongside the one that they've got. As soon as the one at Starbase is done, Megabay 1 and 2 get knocked down and a new Gigabay gets put in its place. A second one. And at Roberts Road, I wouldn't be surprised if you see another 2 or 3 of these rise. I'm going to be entirely honest. They need a lot of workspaces to refurbish these vehicles, to work on them, especially with how much they want to launch. They still got to build the Star Factory in Roberts Road, but hoping we see something on that soon. I'm hoping sooner rather than later. But either way, they're making they're making a lot of progress with infrastructure for the Starship program, and it only bodes well for the Artemis program and wanting to build a lunar base, wanting to do something with Gateway, and going to Mars eventually. It's really cool to finally see all this stuff getting built.
Shout out to Julia, by the way. I know I say it often, but when you actually see the photos of it, shout out to Julia, who's been coordinating with the team at Starbase as well for the Battle of the Bays. So you can see there, you've got Julia's view of the one here in Florida. We also compare it with a view that we try and keep this very similar over at Starbase so that you can do the comparison. And it's a race to see who wins, Texas versus Florida. Who's going to get the bay built first? I mean, you have a little bit of a head start. Just saying, but I still think Florida's going to win. Because I was driving by it yesterday on the way to the press site. The amount of paneling that they are already starting to put on the outside of the building is amazing. They are working around the clock on that thing. They have crews now actually doing some of this work at night. So we're going into that full-on SpaceX stupid number of shifts to make things happen quickly type pace here. So I'm still going for, Florida, Gigabay.
Florida will win. I don't have any doubt in that. They it was almost neck and neck for a bit there, but then it seemed like there was a pause at Starbase to do a lot of interior stuff. Because there have been some differences in construction. So over in Starbase, they've been building up the stairways as they've built it. But over at Roberts Road, they built it up and then they started sliding the stairways into the stairwells. So there's been some different orders of operations. The Gigabay at Starbase has a bunch of internal bracing down the transfer aisles. The one at Roberts Road does not. It could be different contractors as to why they're doing it that way and why one isn't. But either way, they're both moving pretty quick. But I will just say this to everyone. The steel will get finished and then the cladding goes in. But that is only a quarter of what needs to get done. They have to concrete all of the work platform areas, all the walkways, which they're making good progress on both bays. There are a couple of levels up on both of them on doing that. They then have to fabricate all of the work platforms that go up against the walls, all the work stands, the elevators, the bathrooms, electrical, plumbing. All that has to go in along with the bridge cranes for the stacking cells plus the bridge cranes for the transfer aisles. There is so much interior work that has to get done on these. I wouldn't be surprised if I want to consider these Gigabays operational, you're probably talking end of the decade. There's so much interior work. They only recently just finished Megabay 2. They after Megabay 2 was finished, the outside work, the interior took another year.
Yeah, but they were working on Starships while they were doing it.
Well, yeah, right? But I'm talking they'll do one cell at a time, and you'll start to get all of a sudden. My guess is at the Roberts Road Gigabay, they're going to do one cell for ship, one cell for booster, just so that when they do bring vehicles over, they've got a place to work on them and change engines if they have to. Otherwise, trying to manufacture all those work stands, it's just going to take a while. Once it's all said and done, it's going to take a bit. That's kind of what I'm hitting.
Okay, that's what I mean.
Fully operational is going to take a while.
Yeah. That's okay. Cool. I just wanted that clarification because I'm what? Wait, what?
Yeah.
Bro,
by the way, this is what I was talking about with the cladding and the paneling on the outside. This is what you could see from the press site, and it is it's moving quick. That's what I meant by just how much work they were doing. And again, just seeing it last night, seeing the teams working at stupid o'clock hours because, of course, SLS would roll late. I'm fine. Fine. But, it's amazing.
Fine.
I will say, particularly for the Roberts Road Gigabay, they still have to build the Star Factory that goes alongside it. They can't, construct any vehicles in that Gigabay until that Star Factory is built. And then they have to make all the tooling for the Star Factory. And from the preliminary paper we saw, that Star Factory is 1.5 million square feet. So it's 50% bigger than the one in Starbase. So Yeah, that's gonna that alone will take a while to build. That'll probably take a year to build the factory, and then it'll still take even longer to kit it out. Because I'll just say this: they are still building tooling for the factory down in Starbase. It's still not done yet. they're taking a while to do it, and of course, a lot of it's iterative and they're learning, but still, it's taken a while to kit it all out. It's building the factory is one thing. Filling it out and using it to its full capacity is an entire other thing. But once it's all said and done, once you've got 2 factories and at least 2 gigabays and 5 launch pads, that's where I think that cadence, as I was talking about earlier, is going to be like a snap of your finger, and that cadence is going to just skyrocket. They're just going to start launching like crazy once they have the ships and the boosters to do it, because they don't have a shortage of payloads. They don't have a shortage of missions. Starlink is the one big one. They're just going to keep going and going and going, and then tanker flights, depot flights, HLS, cargo, the data centers they want to build, that 1 million satellites FCC thing that they want to do, plus building a lunar base and then going to Mars. Starship does not have a shortage of payloads and launches. It just needs to have the vehicles and the pads to launch it all, is where Starship is, which is kind of like, that's kind of an interesting thing for a program, because when Falcon 9 first started off, it didn't have Starlink to get it off the ground. That's really what got Falcon 9 going. New Glenn's going to have Amazon Leo, which Kuiper's a better way of calling that, but it's Amazon Leo now. But it is kind of interesting that a rocket, especially of this size, is trying to catch up to the launches that are already under its docket. And those launches are in the thousands. And it has to catch up to that. I don't know if we've ever seen that.
Yeah, they got a little ways to go. Yeah,
a little bit?
A little ways to go.
That's a little. But, yeah. I mean, we'll see. We'll see how that ends up going. But yeah, like I was saying, Falcon 9 had Dragon. That was its main thing. So also keep in mind, though, Starship has HLS. That's its other thing, too. So all of these programs, a lot of them were based out of the necessity of the commercial crew or human landing services. Basically, NASA crewed launches. So just point that out there. Falcon Heavy never really was planned to carry any crew, and will never carry any crew, as much as people wanted to stick Orion on top of it.
Red Dragon. What? Red Dragon. Yeah.
Of course, you got to keep bringing that up. Falcon's Maze wondering, by the way, would the top floor of the Gigabay be at the nightclub?
We don't really know what the top floor is going to be for. They do have a bar and area on top of Mega Bay 2. We've seen parties. We've seen wedding reception. We've seen wedding after parties up on top of Mega Bay 2. Yeah. I remember someone posted a picture. They had a wedding like just by the Tiki Bar behind Mega Bay 1 with a rocket garden in view. And then I think they had their after party at the top of Mega Bay 2. Can you imagine that? Like that's kind of nuts.
I've seen them under Space Shuttle Atlantis. I've never seen any on top of the Mega Bay.
Imagine if you could do that in the VAB with a rocket in there.
Oh. Huh.
You wouldn't be able to take any pictures because of the RF restrictions.
Oh, right.
Unless you're certain news organizations that have connections where they allow you to bring in all of your electronics equipment inside the VAB, even though everyone else is not allowed to have anything that emits any kind of RF frequency, including cell phones. What?
Alex, wedding next to SN15, which is in the rocket garden, am I right?
I mean, that would be great. Yeah, right where Elon said it was. Yep.
Yeah, you guys know that you can go right up to it on Remedios. Nope.
And you know that one side of Starship is shiny and one side isn't.
Like, no, Jay pointed out something earlier when we were talking about Gateway and HLS, and I said Starship is big, and Jay in the back channel goes, Ryan, technical update, Starship is big.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, actually, you know what? I am going to get married next to SN15 because there is no SN15 and there is no Mrs. right now. So there you go.
Ooh.
Self-burn.
Self-burn.
Only.
Very rare.
Self-five.
Very, very rare Sawyer self-burn, chat. Jeez.
Woo, gotta get off my chair. It's getting hot from all the burn. Anyway, let me thank the people real quick. And
What is happening?
I wish I knew.
I don't know, EJ.
What is going on here?
EJ, you and I were the ones who were up on the air last night until 2 a.m. So.
Yep. That was man, dude, I was up at 8. Was up at 8 and went to work.
You could see it in our eyes, folks. We're hanging in there. Emmanuel, thank you for becoming a Pad Rat member.
Yeah.
And Fluffy coming in. I sit on it, but I can't take it with me. What am I?
Chair.
No, the launch mount. The launch mount. The rocket sits on it, but it doesn't take it with it.
No,
am I wrong?
My way, I mean, you're right, but my way is the correct answer.
Is there really a correct answer though on that?
Yes, this is a quote from GoldenEye.
Yeah.
I know. I'm throwing in my own thing here to make it space related. Okay.
Hey, wait a minute.
Uh-oh.
Wait a minute.
I was about to say, do you have Yep.
How long did you say the fuse was?
Dare I say it? EJ, you know why I like my answer better?
Why?
I am invincible!
Slugheads. Better luck next time, slughead. Bang! Gone! I am invincible!
Oh, that movie is... Oh,
I love that
It's
movie.
the best.
It's one of my favorite Bond flicks.
it really is one of the better ones in the series. You got a great cast there, too, with the villains. And, of course, Pierce Brosnan.
Well, welcome to the after show.
No, we're still here.
No?
Because then
We're
you got WG Mojo, who's wondering about other things here. Like, when do you expect Booster 20 to be complete?
Well, it just got its transfer tube. It needs its landing tank and its aft section before it'll finish its LOX tank. And then they got to do the entire methane tank and then stack it. I was hoping it would be done by the end of this month. I don't think that's... I actually predicted it was going to be done by the end of the month. I really don't know what's holding them up. I think actually, scratch that. I do know what's holding them up. Right now, B18.3 is taking up the other turntable. That's why they can't transfer it over. They have to get 18.3 out of the Megabay, out of Megabay 1 and off the turntable in order to then move in the landing tank stand, put B819 on the landing tank stand, move that up, and then move the aft section in, stack that, do a double stack, and then put it over onto the other turntable and weld that. That's what they have to do, and they can't do that until 18.3, at least the reincarnation of 18.3, because it's got a new aft, it's got a new common dome section, is out of the Megabay and over to Massey's. So we'll have to watch for a production to Massey's closure, which people will be like, oh, it's ship 39. No, it'll likely be 18.3 that rolls on that next closure. So, and then they can finish 20. But they've kind of been holed up on 20 a lot because they've had to have aerial work platforms like large lifts inside the Megabay 1 opening in order to work on 19. They've had to have the other turntable taken up. It really goes to show the inefficiencies of Megabay. There's a single entrance and exit. When it comes to Gigabay, the sections for new vehicles will go into the side, right next to the stacking stations, or through the other side of the transfer aisle, and they'll have a main exit for all completed vehicles out the large doors facing Highway 4, or over at Roberts Road that faces the road where they can get out. So this issue shows the problems with the Megabays. They were good for the start of the program, but as you want to move and get more vehicles built, the Megabays are pretty trash for stacking and servicing boosters and ships.
So
They're not great at all. They're not
Ryan,
great
what if
design.
they just had 2 turntables
They do?
and a microphone? That'd
You
be
know, I
where
didn't
it's
get it
at.
until you had said the microphone part.
Sorry.
At turntables, I'm like, they do. And then you go with a microphone, I'm like, oh.
Sorry. There was no way to do that without putting in the pause. Okay. But yeah, no, I agree. The Megabay design is not great.
One entrance and exit is not really ideal for when you're trying to service vehicles and build them at the same time. It's just not. So
Yeah, I mean, not to mention like, so they got room for six pedestals in there, right? And you're not using all 6 of
Just
those.
6, not maybe
they
7
have
as well.
for Megabay 1, they can put 3. They have room for 4 completed boosters technically, because the left turntable has the adapters for the aft section of the booster. The right turntable is meant for stacking the separate tank sections, and then they move it over to the left turntable, and then they weld the 2 sections together. Mind you, it's still a hand weld. I hope that changes in Gigabay. You can actually tell it's a hand weld when you go look at the common dome section on like booster 18 and booster 19. It's like a little bit of they do like a double lip around it. So they basically do 2 welds as they mate the tanks together manually. They've been doing that since the start of the program, and I really don't know why they haven't done a robotic welder for the the tank mate, but I guess that it is what it is. It's working, so as it is. But of course, you have to be really precise, because if that methane tank is slightly off kilter, then the ship doesn't sit on it, and then you might have a slight problem trying to launch a full stack. So,
Yeah.
My guess is Gigabay is the reason why they're still doing that way.
yeah, I think it'll change with that. I think there's a lot of lessons learned that's going to all change with Gigabay or whatnot. They've learned a lot of lessons. Like, yeah, right there, you can actually even see it right there, right above the frost line. You see that double line right there, right above the frost.
Yeah,
it's a lip. That's where they mate the 2 tanks, and it's because they basically insert one part of the tank over the other and then double weld it, because it's manually welded.
It's lapped. All right.
Yeah,
okay.
lap weld. Yeah.
Huh.
They've been doing it. If you go back and look at every booster they've ever made, that's what it is.
Huh.
Yeah.
It's a very interesting way to do that. I wonder. I'm see now you got me thinking, like, what? Why would you lap it? My guess would be manufacturing, because lapping welds with boosters is very mass inefficient. Like, because you have double the surface area. It's obviously not for structure, right? Because you have the stringers that are down on the ring below it. Interesting. My mind's thinking manufacturing, Ryan. I think it's that would make sense. It's a Megabay, dude. Like, that's the only way to do it with the tooling that you have, right?
Yeah, it might change. I have a feeling it'll change with Gigabay. We'll see. I don't know. I don't know if we'll be able to see when they do. We'll be able to see it when the first completed booster rolls out of Gigabay, which, oh boy, that's a long way down the road. We'll be able to see if they've changed it or not. And that'll likely be the first Block 4 booster that's stretched to 80 meters. Because remember, they're stretching these vehicles even more.
Yeah. So I guess we talked about Booster 20. What about Ship 40? Where are we at with the next ship as well, if we're looking at future vehicles here?
Yeah, Ship 40 is on the. You can see it's on the center stand in Megabay 2. It's got its aft flaps installed. They've got the pins done for the section welds, but they haven't finished. They haven't put in the ablative or done the tiling yet. But I did not like it takes that long to do that. Usually they try to do that after when they put the sections together. Usually what they'll do is another robot goes in and does all the pins. And then before they move on to the next section, or they move the vehicle off that turntable, they'll go ahead and do the tiled section and then be done with it. But it seems like they wanted to get that off the turntable quickly. And then they got it onto the center stand, which had the transfer to, which had the not the transfer tubes. It had the raceways waiting to be installed, along with the aft flaps ready to be installed. And now it's all in. And I guess they'll finish the heat shield at some point. But it also points to, and I forgot about this, is S-41 is now on its payload bay, which is getting worked on. So they're moving ahead with ships. Remember all throughout the Block 2 era, and especially even in the past, how we always would wait on the ship last. The ship would be the last thing that would be ready. Well, right now in the Block 3 era, booster might be the last thing that's ready at this point. They have 39 stacked, 40 is stacked, and they could be starting 41 maybe in a week or two. We'll see. But that would already be Flight 14, as in there's a chance that ship 41 could, if everything works, it could be the first one they try to catch. If everything goes well. Yeah. So, I mean, we'll see, though.
We will indeed see. That'll be interesting, though, to finally see that catch.
It's going to be nuts. Oh!
By the way, that photo was not sponsored by BladePlatforms.com. What were you going to say, right?
I didn't have sorry, Jay, I didn't have the footage for it because they literally installed it today. But in relation to ship catches, they just put a new roof on Pad 2. In fact, I don't know if we have a zoomed in view of Tower 2 right now through SBL, but they just installed a new roof with a bunch of cladding, which we kind of expect is to help protect the top of the tower against the exhaust plume of a ship that's going to do a flip and burn over the tower and then get caught. Installed a whole new, basically, roof. You can see it sitting on the top there. I've already seen some of the new flyover image because RGV literally just flew today. It looks so much better with cladding on top.
Yeah.
Say that. Oh yeah, it looks way better from up top. It does.
Cool.
It looks
way
better.
What's the roof gonna do though?
Protect it.
Protect it against the exhaust plume. Basically, before it was more or less open with grates, so the exhaust plume could go in and just go inside the tower. With this, it'll just get reflected off the top.
Because Sawyer, you got to, like, if you think about a Starship coming in for a landing, it's going to fly right over the top of the tower. It's not like Super Heavy where it's going to kind of come in at an angle, right? No. This thing flips and burns over the tower and then kind of loops past it and then comes back, right? So, yeah, more protection is warranted.
Allah, where's Jacqueline?
Where's Jacqueline? There it is. Sorry, Ryan.
You're not sorry.
It looks a little weird. It'll take a little bit to get used to, and then on top of that, the diagonal pieces you see there is part of the tower where you basically get the pulleys that come out, which is part of the chopstick system. They should be having panels that kind of go across that, which will also cover it up. So they're kind of cladding most of the top of the tower now, which for the fans who like to see a cladded tower will be happy of, but I think this is as far as they're going to go. I don't think they'll clad anymore unless for some reason they think they need to. But still, mods, this will have to get done to Pad 1's tower. In fact, steel for the roof has already shown up. This will also have to get done for 39A's tower and for both towers at 37. And for any catch towers they decide to build. So this is a new addition to it, which raises it by a few feet. That's about it, though.
Here's an interesting question that was brought up. John, hi John, was wondering why don't they make a booster static fire stand adapter at Massey's? Obviously, hopefully, we'll see Ship 39 getting tested out there sooner than later. And now we have the new pad, of course, for the booster static fire, but why not do it over at Massey's with some kind of adapter, like we've seen them do before, with adapting things to go on the launch mount instead?
That flame trench would blow to smithereens if you tried to put a booster on that thing. You'd literally blow up that entire thing if you tried to put a booster on it. It would be slag and everything. That flame diverter and that trench was not built to withstand 33 Raptors. It can withstand 6 and probably eventually 9, but not 33. You no, you would wreck that trench entirely. The water pressure is not enough. The diverter's not enough. In order to do something like a booster static fire stand, you're talking something the size of a B1 test stand, a B2, I mean, test stand. You know, they used to do the Saturn 1Cs.
I mean, the B1 is still applicable.
Yeah,
to be honest with you,
do the S1Cs or the Green Run test stand. You're talking something that size, or I don't know, just use the launch mount. Just use the launch mount
or that. What do you mean?
Like,
I mean, if you want to just destroy your pad, you could just put Ship 36 back out. But I mean, yeah,
it doesn't exist
over at Massey's. You don't need 33 engines. You just need one Ship 36.
Oof.
Or one spicy COPV.
True. 38 or 18 or whatever at this point. Yeah. Who knows? But we like things that go boom. Well, we don't like certain things that go boom, but we like some things that go boom. Like sonic booms we like. But it turns out that people who live underneath these planes that make sonic booms don't like the booms. I like that boom, boom, pow, or whatever the lyrics are. Anyway.
Sawyer.
We had an update today in the X-59, which is in partnership with NASA and Lockheed. And that is part of their vehicle that they are using to try and test quieter sonic booms so that we can bring back supersonic transporters a la Concorde, but now with some of the newer ones, like you've got Boom X1 currently, which will eventually be a larger commercial variant of it. If Starship is going to be flying all over the place point to point, you're welcome, Chris Bergen. You have to find ways to reduce sonic booms as things break the sound barrier.
Good luck with that on Starship.
Just saying. So
good luck with that.
It flew for a second time today, albeit a lot shorter than it was supposed to. It ended up doing one circuit, lasted about 9 minutes, and made it to 12,000 feet, reaching a max speed of 280 knots, according to Flight Radar 24 on the data. And then in an update that they gave about the Quest vehicle, which, yes, that is 2 S's, and it's really weird capitalizations of which ones are and which ones aren't. It was cut short following a warning light shortly after takeoff. It's supposed to be about an hour instead of 9 minutes. And regardless, it emphasized that it's 9 minutes more data than they had before.
It is true.
Also, I love the pilot's nickname for Jim Less. His nickname is Clue, so it's Clueless.
I don't know if that's a... Never mind. It's okay. Cool. What, EJ?
I was going to say, how is Clue spelled? Is it CLUE or KLU? Because those are two different things.
It looks like CLUE in the
right here.
post here by Ryan.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yes,
yeah. It is the Quiet Supersonic Transport. So capital Q, lowercase UE, capital SST. Ryan, you need to use your Elon Prime to fix that.
That is just that's a mouthful of a...
Can we just call it Go Fasty McFastface or something?
Go Fasty McQuietface? I don't know.
Quiet Go Fasty?
Quiet McShut your face?
Yeah. I mean...
I don't know.
Yeah.
I am all for more supersonic research, especially to make it quieter so we can have supersonic airplanes. Because it'd be fun to fly in one. Not only that, maybe it'd be fun to work on one at some point. That'd be pretty cool. It's taken them a while to research this thing, build it. And while people may be like, oh, it only got nine minutes, this is a brand new aircraft. With a brand new design, brand new aircraft. There's going to be hiccups. They're in the really, really cautious stage, especially in the initial parts of their flight test campaign. They're gonna run into issues. They're gonna play it safe. Their parameters are gonna be set kind of tight. As they fly it more, as they understand the airframe more, it'll all open up. They'll open up the parameters. It'll fly more. and they'll get more and more data as they go. So I don't be worried that they had an issue on like the first flight or two. It's
Dude.
not really that big of a problem.
I got an idea for the name.
Yeah.
Mock chicken.
Mock chicken.
Mock chicken.
That's gonna need some explaining.
It goes. How fast does it go? It goes Mock chicken. What else do you need to know?
A lot. Why chicken?
Because calling it Mock pig is weird.
I don't know if you could see my brain melting out of my one ear. My earpiece is keeping the other in place, but
I have headphones on, so we don't have to worry about that.
It all stays in there, right?
Yeah.
It all stays in there.
Chicken.
Wasn't this the one though where we got that really awesome photo of when it crossed like in front of the sun, and they had the thing where you could see the ripple of the sonic booms from it? Was that this plane, or was that Boom Supersonics?
I think it was Boom.
I think
this
that was the
hasn't gone
XB1.
Supersonic yet.
Yeah,
that was the Schlieren image.
Schlieren.
Yeah,
Schlieren.
That's something like that. Yeah. So I guess
when you go supersonic, you can take a Schlieren image of basically the shock waves coming off of the object that is going faster than the speed of sound. And you see the ripple effect through it, and it's always really cool. One of the funniest things I ever saw a Schlieren image of was when Smarter Every Day shot a baseball at over Mach 1. If anyone remembers those videos.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
That was one of the funniest things I've ever seen.
Yeah, pretty good.
By the way, I met Dustin at a launch. He is a really awesome guy, by the way. So the persona that he gives off on videos, he's just as awesome in person. Just wanted to say that.
Yeah,
Great guy.
There's
cool.
the shockwaves coming off of the points. So you got the shockwave coming off of the node, the tip of the aircraft, then where the fuselage meets the leading edge of the wing, and then the tip of the wing, and then of course coming off the tail and the vertical and the horizontal stabilizer. So basically anything where you've got a point or whatnot, it's going to generate a shockwave that comes off. And it can be measured like with a Schlieren image like this.
So then how do you deal with crazy supersonic booms? Because for those who remember with Concorde, the issue with Concorde is that it could not fly over any mainland basically in the US. It would have to be, unless it was under supersonic speed, which kind of defeats the whole point. Having a supersonic transport vehicle that you can't go supersonic in over 90% of the United States population here. Even leaving out of JFK when it would fly out of New York had to do a special noise abatement maneuver so that, the people who lived nearby didn't have to complain about the crazy jet engines that the thing had, especially if you want to go full afterburner on it. How do you fix that? Because otherwise, again, then we get another Concorde where it's super over expensive and then doesn't really live up to its full potential of what it could have been, and one simple tire left by another plane that had absolutely nothing to do with this one that just happens to get sucked into an engine and the entire program.
It wasn't a tire. What the crash for the Concorde was a titanium metal strip that came off the cowling of a DC-10, got left on a runway in Paris. The tire of the Concorde hit it, flicked it up and hit the fuel tank, and that's how that happened. But
thanks, Douglas Aircraft. Really cool. Thank you. Keep up the bad work, please.
That was Delta's aircraft that did that. So
I thought it was
Delta's fault than anyone. I used to think it was Delta, unless it was United. I don't remember. Either way, it was a DC-10. But
gross.
When it comes to trying to change sonic booms, I mean, this is kind of out of my wheelhouse, but I think it kind of has to do with you have to kind of help with the geometry of the aircraft and how it can redirect said sonic boom into, so rather than trying to reflect it back onto the ground or reflect it in a certain area, you're trying to reflect it away from people or reflect and disperse it, or something along those lines, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, that's pretty much spot on. That huge duck bill that's on the front of the X-59 is designed to make the supersonic, those shock waves that we were looking at in that Schlieren image. It's designed to make those go up, like more than down. It's not about like totally mitigating on one side over the other, right? If you're at higher altitude in the transonic regime, your sonic boom doesn't reach the ground. So you can be going Mach 1 at 35,000 feet, no one's going to hear it. So all you have to do, well, there's your problem. You're making a big noise. All you have to do. No, what the Quest is designed to do is more focus on making the shock go up, because there's no one up there, right? So you look at the duckbill on the front of this thing, you look at the way the nose is positioned, it's designed to send shocks upwards. I mean, that doesn't mean that shocks aren't going down, right? But if you can muffle it out to a point where it's, if you can muffle it out when you're in transonic, it doesn't even reach the ground, because it sound kind of curves back up, I guess would be the right way to say it. But yeah, it deflects. It's trying to deflect it upward. That's the whole point of the project. Like I said, that's why it looks like a flying evolutionary dead end. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Biologically, I hope it's not a dead end, please.
Duckbill, like a duckbill platypus, like platypi, like the name of the new astronaut group?
Yes, sure.
You saw that was the name that was, because by the way, the astronaut corps don't get to select their names. It's selected by the astronaut crew before them. So if I remember rightly, so that was the platypi, what they just announced. But I mean, anyway, it's a crazy looking design, but I mean, if it works, it works. And Ryan Katoon in the back channel, by the way, confirming that it was a Continental Airlines flight on a McDonnell Douglas DC-10. So combined between you and I, we eventually got the whole thing right.
I forgot Continental was still There were so many more airlines back then. They've all been like U.S. Airways, Continental, Compass. They've all been
America West,
Eastern.
Yeah, they've all been absorbed or merged with whether it's United, American, or Delta, basically these days. But it's the one little caveat with this design that's a bit interesting is with the way the duckbill is basically set up. There's no such, unless you have cameras, there's no VFR. There's no visual flying. You need cameras to do it because you can't see down in front of you with the way the duckbill's set up. You need cameras to do it, which poses a issue with the FAA because to rely on cameras for VFR, it presents a mode of failure that's going to be kind of a fun thing for the FAA to get around, as well as other regulatory agencies, because everyone is used to using Windows. Windows are a big thing. It's one of those things. So I'd be kind of curious how that would go over once if you were to try to install this, say, onto Overture or in Boom supersonic aircraft. Like how regulatorily speaking, how is that going to work? That's what I'm curious about.
Wait, so it looks like a platypus? An a supersonic plane platypus? Perry, the supersonic plane platypus?
Sure.
I think we need sleep, dude.
I do a terrible Doofenshmirtz, I know. But yes, now everyone in chat is talking about all the absorbed or defunct airlines like TWA, Transworld, Pan American, Pan Am, which apparently is set to be flying again as Pan Am with other ownership. Eastern Airlines is now back flying again, yes. American Airlines, I think, has a TWA livery version of their plane, which is pretty cool.
Wait. Pan Am's back?
Yes.
Yeah.
Who? Why? What planes are they using?
I forget exactly which planes.
All right, now I got to look this up. Hold on.
Yeah. But yeah, that's the thing again. Of course, you also had Continental merge with United because you still had the Continental livery with the United logo with the cool globe tail. Anyway.
Eastern Airlines is even back.
Yeah, that's what we were just saying.
Yeah.
Can you tell we're losing our minds, folks?
Yeah.
Wait, which was the one that was selling tickets to the moon? Was that TWA?
I don't remember that.
There was one that was a campaign where you could sign up to get a ticket to fly with them to the moon. Trying to remember. You also had to, I think it was it TWA or Pan Am that was then run by an astronaut at one point who actually brought it back from the brink of bankruptcy.
Because I'm trying to remember who absorbed. Pan Am went bankrupt and sold off its parts. I'm trying to remember who absorbed TWA.
TWA became American. It was part of America.
Oh. No, American was around. Well, I think TWA must have been absorbed by American because American Airlines was around with TWA.
That's what I mean. Yeah, because American Airlines has a TWA livery of their American plane as a kind of homage to it.
Yeah, because American got in. Welcome to the airline aircraft chat.
Wait, you work on airplanes?
Everybody. Yeah, airplanes. And then American also grabbed U.S. Airways, and then I know Delta grabbed Northwest. And man, they'll just say everyone's still salty about that one, but yeah.
EJ, what'd you find?
So they're apparently Pan Am has been operating since 2025 with charter service for transatlantic flights on 757s. 757s that are leased from Icelandic Air or Iceland Air.
Flying pencils.
I see 757s from Iceland Air sometimes at MSP.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. Yeah, the flying pencils, baby. I love the 757.
They just need to. Boeing just needs to finish the new 797. That's all that needs to happen.
Yes, welcome to the aircraft.
That's all. That's all they need to do. Oh, okay.
That's all they need to do.
Yeah.
DJ.
Okay.
I was waiting to say that's a great reaction on that one. That's all they need to do. Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Well, there's your problem. Your planes keep crashing. That's all right.
I'm trying to remember.
To the aircraft portion of the flame trend to everybody. Welcome.
Yeah. Oh, it was Eastern Airlines that had a CEO that was an astronaut, if I remember rightly.
They flew the L-1011, still one of the greatest trijet of them all.
Thank you. Yes. I knew I liked you.
And there is still a TriStar flying.
There is. Not for long, but there is.
Yeah.
Actually, if you look on NASASpaceflight, it is actually scheduled to be flying again soon.
When is that? Yeah, let's go look at NASASpaceflight.
I saw it when I was scrolling through things earlier, but yeah. Sorry, we're... By the way, we have This Week at Spaceflight coming up for the more serious side of news happening shortly. As soon as that's ready, we will send you over to it. Frank Borman, that's who it was. From Apollo 8. He was the one that took Eastern Airlines out of bankruptcy.
Oh, really? All
yeah,
right.
he was there 75 to 86. Frank Borman was on Apollo 8, for those who don't know the name.
With Bill Anders and Jim Lovell.
Yep.
Cool. Yeah.
That's not it.
Neat.
That's the Minotaur.
Yeah.
No, this was the TriStar, not the Minotaur.
I was about to say, go back to that page and then load up Northrop Grumman. It's going to be under Northrop Grumman anyways.
I'm scrolling back. I think it was around June.
Which is still funny to this day that Northrop Grumman is operating a Lockheed aircraft. But, here we are.
I have a picture of a thing mounted under a plane, which basically is one option left of that.
Solid rocket candy in chat. Lockheed needs to get back in the game. We need another domestic manufacturer. I agree. Anytime Lockheed makes a passenger jet, it is one of the greatest of all time. I mean, look at the L-1011. Look at the Constellation. Back in the day, they're pretty good. That's a pretty good track record.
Constellation was decent, yeah.
The good old TriStar.
Yeah, baby. What do you mean decent? President used that as Air Force One. What do you mean decent? Constellation
was issues, though. I mean, the L-1011 had a lot more, but it had its issues. The Constellation.
the DC-10 had way more issues than the L-1011.
Yeah, exactly. The DC-10 and the MD-11 are piles of junk. There, I said it.
Really?
Yeah, they are. That's 100% true.
I'm not sorry.
No.
I mean, there is a TriStar coming to Flight Simulator. Just saying, EJ.
Oh yeah, nice.
It should be out within the next month or so from a company called Anybuild.
Make tri-jets again.
And
Although
by
I
the
don't
way,
know if it would.
the L1011, it actually it doesn't use like a flight computer. It uses the actual INS system. It's great.
Yeah, it's fantastic. It's a beautiful aircraft. It's way ahead of its time.
Yeah, I agree. It could land itself in the 60s. Just saying.
That is true. Yes, the Tri-Minotaur, folks. Yes, we see it.
The tri.
Nice.
Yeah. DC-10 had a door problem too. Yeah, there's a bunch of issues with those planes.
DC-10 had a lot of problems.
Oh, DC-10. Yeah, DC-10 had a lot of issues.
Yeah.
We really want to go into the aircraft, the real like aircraft version of all this, like the
F-pylon lug. F-pylon lug.
the cargo door issue, the cargo issue where the cargo door would blow out and then you would lose hydraulics and everything, and
Yeah, that's because pilots love that.
A turbine rotor on the number 2 engine blew out over Iowa. I don't know. It could go on with the issues that it had, but
fair enough.
I wish more tri-jets were made, but there was basically just those two. I mean, there was a turboprop jet, if anyone remembers I forget it was. I think it's the Focke-Wulf. It was the transport plane for the Germans during the Second World War. It was tri-turboprop, had 2 under each wings and 1 on the nose.
That's a Ju-52. I don't think that was a turboprop. I think that was just
turboprop, just prop. My bad.
Yeah.
Prop.
Yeah. The Junkers 52. Yeah.
Yeah, the Junkers. Yeah, the Junkers. That's right.
What about
copy the
Dassault
Ford
Falcon,
tri-motor?
though? What about
Whatever.
for private jets? Isn't the Dassault Falcon? Isn't that a tri-jet?
Yeah, but that's 3 engines in the back. I think Ryan means like 2 under the wings and 1 in the back. But yeah, technically,
tri-jet. It's 3 engines.
Dassault Falcon 727. If we're going to play that game, like
yeah, I still count the 727 as a type of tri-jet.
Yeah,
3 JT9s, screamers is what they were called.
Mm-hmm.
It is a 3-engine
loud
jet,
engines.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just going to go in here and just piss off a bunch of Germans that are watching the stream. The Ju-52 is a copy of the Ford tri-motor.
Oh.
It is, isn't
snap.
it? It is.
You went there.
Welcome to the plane trench again.
Plane trench. Yeah, no. We'll call it the jet deflector.
Well, wouldn't it be blast deflector? Yeah,
sure,
something like that. Oh boy. Let me thank some people here. Echo Deal coming in saying, if a tree falls at Mach 1 in a forest and there's nobody around, does it make a sonic boom? Yeah, probably. Well, it's a good theoretical question.
Yes, it
And
does.
How did the tree get to Mach 1?
That's really where my mind went. Yeah.
It has a heck of a yeet. I don't know. I mean, sometimes trees explode if they get too cold. Maybe it's just, I don't know, super exploded.
Yeah, that was strange. I didn't see that in the wild, but I saw, when the winter storm came through a month ago. That was weird. Yeah, the tree just okay. Looked like in Return of the Jedi when the ATSTs are on Endor and they're shooting at the trees and they're just boom. I'm like, wait a minute, what just happened?
And then Stuart Young pointing out that the Moonflight tickets were promoted by Pan Am as part of the 2001 A Space Odyssey connection. That's what it was. But yeah, you could actually get yourself a ticket to the moon with Pan Am because they thought they were so futuristic, and again with 2001, that they were going to be flying people to the moon. So you could get in early and get your moon ticket and get a certificate that you would have a ticket to the moon. That's what it was. You was remembering that.
I did not know that.
Yeah, it's a really cool program if you take a look at it. Sorry, something in the background had me a little off guard there.
I don't. Is that auto subtitles? Like what?
Yeah.
In case you're unaware, for launches we go on a low latency version, so that it's more real time for people who are trying to watch the launches in person as well.
I know what it did. When I
Yeah,
know
if we're
why
doing-
it did that. It auto-dubbed when I said fuck a wolf.
Yeah,
Fuck a
we-
wolf.
We do
fuck
other
a wolf.
things where, for these longer ones, so that we can have the closed captions out there for people that need it for other streams. That's why this is on a bit of a delay, so that you can get the closed captions, but they are automatically captioned. And sometimes they can put in bad words when we didn't actually say bad words here. So, wanted to, acknowledge
Another
anyone
tidbit.
who is reading the closed captions. We are sorry. We did not say that.
Another Pan Am thing to, as we continue the plane trench here.
Right.
Pan Am is responsible for the 747 existing. One trip, the
Mhm.
CEO of Pan Am in the 60s, he basically went to Boeing and said, I need something like this. Can you do it? And Boeing's like, yeah. We got a guy named Joe Sutter. He'll work on
The
it.
good Boeing. Back when Boeing was awesome.
Yeah, you guys keep in mind, Boeing in the 60s is like to planes is what SpaceX is to rockets right now. So
Not Starliner.
yeah, it's not like, oh, well, we're gonna have to, do the thing. One trip went to Boeing and he's like, hey, I need a 4-engine plane, double decker. It needs 6,000 nautical mile range or something absurd. Like just absurd design requests. And he's like, hey, Boeing, can you do this for me? And Boeing's like, yeah.
Sure.
Of course we
let's
can.
do it.
Yeah, we're Boeing. Of course we can do this.
4-engine double-decker aircraft.
Yeah, let's go.
First
Yeah, we
true
can do that.
jumbo jet.
Queen
He's
of
like,
the
it needs to have
skies,
like,
baby.
it needs to have a spiral staircase in. And they're like, yeah, of course it's going to have spiral stairs. Why wouldn't it?
It
Oh,
must.
why wouldn't it? Yeah.
What are you, nuts?
Bideford coming in with the $20 super chat here saying, Bloody Mary tonight. Something new and different. Thanks, guys, for the conversation. Isn't it a thing if you say Bloody Mary multiple times, something bad happens? If I ever say Bloody Mary now a third time? Oh, wait. What's happening here? The show is wrapping up. Oh, no, that's what happens if you say Bloody Mary 3 times, apparently.
Oh,
Oh, no. But don't worry.
Oh, no.
This week in spaceflight coming right up so that you get actual serious space news and not just plane trench here. But first, let me thank all of the highest level of support that we have here at NSF, which are launch directors and flight engineers. They get their name at the end of all the flame trenches and NSF lives as a big thank you for being so generous in allowing us to do what we do here at NSF. We can only put out as many cameras and have as many people out there at stupid o'clock for our Artemis rolls and teams down at Starbase because of that support that you guys give us. So thank you. I also, of course, need to thank all the people that were here on air with me tonight. Let's go, I guess, EJ first. EJ, thank you for joining us here on the flame trench / plane trench / flame bucket exhaust thing.
You're welcome.
Lawyer.exe has stopped working. Keep going.
Yeah, no, sorry. Yeah, hey, thanks for having us, guys. It's been a long week, so we did a lot of work this week. So
We did.
yeah, we're a little tired, but I do appreciate the audience. I know it's a privilege being on here, and I do appreciate it. Thank you very much for watching, guys. We'll see you next week.
Yeah, just know
Back
that the
to you,
bags,
Sawyer.
that there are bags under my bags. Under my bags. Ryan Weber, thank you for joining.
Yeah, it's a pleasure as always, Sawyer. Always fun to get on, talk Starship and everything, and Artemis and rockets in general, and planes, because planes is always fun to talk about too.
Dude, we should do more. We should do more plane trench. I'm not even kidding.
We definitely should as a separate thing at some point. But here we are. Yeah, we're almost done here. Sawyer, I guess you can end it.
That's kind of my job as the host.
Is it?
Also, I have to thank Jay Keegan, who's been the one pushing the buttons, pulling the levers, and making all this magic happen today. It's been a wild one, so thanks for riding the storm with us. And thank you for riding the storm with us. I'm Sawyer Rosenstein. I have been your host for this episode of The Flame Trench. Let's go watch Twist.
And here we go.
There's the W. Here's ignition.
Doubling up.
Did it just do a Kerbal?
Back to the moon and beyond.
Put that in the big bag,
Back at home, we all have a lot of work to do, but from here, it sure looks like a perfect world.
Propulsion continues to be normal.
We did have an observation. 343 unfolds to go.
It's orange.
Water towers can fly!
Bingo! Right in the center. Where's Jacqueline? There it is!
That was surreal.
That's not what we want to see.
No.
Oh my god.
Yikes. You bet. We don't need any more of these.